One of the greatest things about Big Sills, I play hurt. I play hurt. Don't ever think that even with my throat in the shape that it is, that I would never not be here. This is who we are. This is what I am. And the topics today, I couldn't miss it. Dear Chris Sims, thank you so much for the wonderful content today. Even though my kid, who's now around snot-nosed kids, brought home some sort of psychotic, I don't know, illness. I'm not sick, no fever, no nothing. My throat. I mean, I get it. Lord, thank you very much for the opportunities in life. And I can't thank you enough. However, my kid being around snot-nosed little kids has brought this illness on me. But as I have been put on this earth, okay, as I have been put on this earth, I've been put on this earth to do this. Truth, justice, and the Big Sills way. You bet, baby. I am in a pissed off mood, but you know what I am? I am better when I am pissed off. A little bit dinged up makes me play harder, and I'm ready to rock. So this is probably all the... Now, look, most of you are going to get pissed off today, and I'm going to have to piss on you today. So don't get upset. Super chats go to the top. By the way, if you have any kind of kindness and you have any kind of sympathy for Big Sills, which most of you do not, super chats go to the top. Please hit the like button. You bet, baby. We are here. He sounds like Bill Parcells. Great. Great. We take no days off. None. I don't care if I had a fucking broken leg. There is no days off. I got puffers. I got Vicks. I got all kinds of stupid shit. I never get sick too, which this is why I'm pissed, is that I never get sick. Oh, Kyle. Yes, sir, Kyle. I will answer that. Big Sills is hearing 3 years, $35 million for Howie Roseman, making him the highest paid general manager in North America. 3 years, $35 million. $4 million more than Nick Caserio in Houston. Okay? See, this is the kind of shit we're going to get today. Okay, Twiz. You know, I'm not going to get overly upset. Okay? I'm going to try to keep my composure. All right? That's funny. I won't lie. But I'm going to try to keep my composure. Yeah, we're hearing, hey, all kidding aside, Howie Roseman, 3 years, $35 million. And I'll tell you exactly where I heard it from. I heard it from Alonzo Highsmith that Howie Roseman got $35 million from Jeffrey Lurie. $35 million. Highest paid general manager in all sports. Now, again, have to wait and see the numbers. But kudos to Howie. I'm pretty sure the deal's done. Okay, but $35 million bucks. How you doing? Over 3 years. I wonder why it was only 3 years, though. I wonder if they have something tied in on how long Jeffrey Lurie's going to run the Eagles. Okay? No. You know what it sounds like? Hey, young Biz, it sounds like after a night with your mom. How you doing? You know, I have to fight back. I can't. Hey, I can't just let it roll. Okay? Sounds like after a night with your mom, Biz. So wait a second here. Let me take a shot of whiskey. So here's a shot of whiskey. How you doing? Yeah. Oh, wow. There we go. We're ready to rock. 3 years, $35 million bucks. Okay. Dear Chris Sims, thank you very much for the content. I can't thank you enough. Baker Mayfield. No, wait a minute. So Chris Sims comes out with his annual list. Let me read this bad puppy. As I said, guys, please hit the like button. Stoopers go to the top. Sills drinking too. Yes, this will be a very entertaining show by the end. Okay? This is a wonderful list. Way to go, Chris Sims. Chris Sims is looking at players, not teams. And rightfully so. Here's what he ranked. And then I'm going to rank mine against Chris Sims. Okay? Every year, Sims comes out with the top 40 quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay? I mean, thank you very much, man. I don't miss days, dude. I don't care what it is. Now, right. What's wrong with the top 10? Here's Chris Sims's list. At number 10, Jalen Hurts. Now, a year ago, Sims had Hurts ranked 9th. So he dropped him. He wins the Super Bowl and the MVP. And Sims dropped him to 10th. Okay. Yeah, sounds about right. This ain't my list. Sims dropped him. Passing game issues. Absolutely. They dropped the guy who's the Super Bowl MVP to 10th. I mean, that took some chutzpah. He's got Baker Mayfield ranked 9th. He goes from 15th to 9th. Last year, Chris Sims had Baker Mayfield ranked 15th. Now he has him ranked 9th and ahead of Jalen Hurts. Okay, by the way, this ain't my list. But as I've told, get this. But as I've told Sue and all of you, the only people who think Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback in the NFL live in Philly. Nobody else thinks this. Nobody thinks this. Nobody. You can't find a guy who would say he's the second best quarterback in the NFL if they're not around Philly. It's not true. Nobody thinks he's number 2. Nobody. WIP guys, our guys here, all think he is. Nobody around the country thinks Devontae Smith is better than Terry McLaurin. Only people live here. That's it. This is why, once again, this is why I'm here for the voice of reason. Now, here's the rest of this list. He's got Justin Herbert, number 8. You got to remember something here. They're ranking the best players at the position, not the guys on the best team. Without his team, Jalen Hurts, according to Chris, at least has him in the top 10, which is cool. This has nothing to do with his team. This has everything to do with him. You understand this? It's like PFF. When they rank a player, they're not ranking him on the best team. They're ranking that player, okay? They're ranking that player how he looks with the rest of the players at his position in the league. Okay? That's it. It's no disrespect. It's how they see that player ranked versus the rest of the players at his position. That's just what it is. Jalen Hurts is second best quarterback. Nobody in the planet will think that he has the same skill set as some of these other guys. Now, in that system, he's clearly one of the best winners there is in football. And he takes advantage of everything they have. Jalen probably takes advantage of more things around him than any player in the league. That's a good thing. Okay? So here, let's go to the rest of it. He's got Justin Herbert at number 8. Justin Herbert is a great talent. When you guys talk about winning in the postseason, that's a team thing too. It's coaching, all of that. Number 7, they got C.J. Stroud. Well, Stroud's first 2 years in football have been pretty damn good. You know, some would go like this. Well, he took a step back last year. Well, he played better teams. He played better football teams a year ago. Right? Tougher schedule. They made the playoffs. I thought they played the Chiefs great in Arrowhead. I like him. Okay? Hit the like button. Supers go to the top. I'm not trying to defend Hurts on this, but Herbert, I understand he doesn't have receivers, but you can't be a turnover machine in the playoffs. Once again, I think what they're doing here, just like with Chris, PFF, or anybody, you're ranking talent. Hurts is not better talent than Herbert. Nobody in their right mind would think that. Jalen's smarter than Herbert. Jalen's smarter than Lamar. Jalen, in my opinion, is one of the smartest quarterbacks in pro football. I think hey, get this, Kyle. I think smarts wins you Super Bowls, not talent. Do you agree? I think smarts wins the Super Bowl. Talent doesn't. You know what Xander used to say to me every Monday after watching Lamar? I want one of those. That's what you get with Lamar Jackson. I want one of those. That's exactly what you get. Jalen Hurts is, in my book, next to Mahomes, probably the smartest quarterback in pro football. Smarts wins you the Super Bowl. And in my opinion, do I think Josh Allen's smarter than how he sees the game as a Jalen Hurts? No. Because, again, you know what Jalen does in the playoffs? If Jalen has 60 yards in net passing, it doesn't affect him. Josh Allen can't have 60 yards passing in the playoffs. You know why? His team will get blown out. He doesn't have the team around him like that. Well, that's not a Jalen Hurts problem. That's a Buffalo Bills organizational problem. Remember, when I say that Jalen Hurts has better talent around him, at the end of the day, that's not a Jalen Hurts problem. That's an opposing team's problem. Like, when I talk about Joe Burrow not having a great defense around him, that's not a Jalen Hurts problem. That's a Joe Burrow decision-making problem. Why do you want to stay in Cincinnati? They're never going to build a team around you. And you see this comment here? Hurts is a great in his system. That's right, in his system. No quarterback is a system quarterback. There's no such thing. Every single coordinator's responsibility is to build a system around the skill set of the pluses and negatives of that player. And the Eagles have done the best job of anybody in football on building that same type of system around him. Do you understand the Eagles have not failed Jalen Hurts? John McMullen says this all the time. I agree with this take. By the way, RC3 with a grand slam take. 92% smarts, 8% talent. Absolutely true. That's why, hey, RC3, that's why it's so hard to evaluate that position. Is because when you show up at the combines, what tests do you have for smarts? The Wonderlic? Do you know they only take one test on how smart you are? That's why Brady fell to 6. Everything is metrics on sprinting, jumping, 40-yard dash. There's only one test to test how smart you are. Dude, I see a comment here, which is I'm gonna hit on it. Tom Brady, superpower, smartest quarterback on the field, smartest quarterback in history. Hurts is the second smartest quarterback in pro football. You know, I'll take that back. He may be even smarter than Patrick Mahomes because he's not as talented. Mahomes gets away with some of the shit he does because of his athleticism. Hurts doesn't. Hurts will have turnovers. Hurts will take sacks. Hurts can't throw himself out of trouble. But you know what he does? He sees the game as good as anybody. I've come to the conclusion that Jalen Hurts might be the smartest quarterback in pro football. And I think smarts win Super Bowls and games. Talent does not. Okay? And what LJ's saying, the more experience the guy gets, the smarter he's going to get, which makes him even more difficult to beat. That's what happened to Brady. Okay? Well, think of this. Ask yourself this question. Who's a more talented athlete? Lamar Jackson or Tom Brady? No, I'm not sick today, Sue. Just the throat. I don't know what happened. My kid brought something home. We're good. I'm not sick. I have no fever, nothing. I'm good. We're powering through. If I was down for the count, you'd know it. I'd never get sick. So we're just going to power through this bitch. The only thing is I can't scream at you guys as much, which fucking aggravates me. Here, ask yourself this. Thanks, Kimberly. Appreciate that. I mean, who's more talented, Lamar Jackson or Tom Brady? Isn't that right there on example for you? Athleticism doesn't win Super Bowls. It just doesn't. I mean, but when you're talking about skill, that's what these lists are. It's based on skill. Now, again, based on smarts. Do you want me to rank? Okay. Do you want me to rank the smartest quarterbacks in football? Here. 1. Stafford. 2. Hurts. 3. Burrow. 4. Mayfield. 5. Golf. Those are your smartest quarterbacks. And let's take a look at this. Super Bowl win, AFC champion. Mayfield, not bad in the postseason. Golf, NFC champion. Almost every one of those guys have a winning record in the postseason because they're smart. But when you're talking about, again, athleticism based on that position, that's why these lists upset Eagle fans. Your guy wins Super Bowls because he's smarter than the next guy. And he takes advantage of the talent around him. That's right. See this take here by LJ? Look at this. Look at that. He was never a good teammate, and he was never smart enough to win a game. The game. That is absolutely true. Okay, if talent won Super Bowls, Marino would have. That's a great take. If talent was all it took to win Super Bowls, John Elway would have 50. You have to be the smartest guy on the field. Jalen Hurts might be next to Matthew Stafford, the 2 smartest quarterbacks in pro football. The rest of these guys live on athleticism. That's why when you see a list like this, and here, I'll give you the rest of Chris Sims' list. To me, he's not wrong. But again, being an athlete and being the best skilled player at that position, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win a Super Bowl. There's a reason Rodgers only has 1 ring. Correct. You know why? He never really saw clutch moments. And I never thought Aaron Rodgers was a clutch player. I think he's won game over 500 in the postseason. He wasn't smart enough to involve the rest of his football team around him. Hey, can you imagine doing this? LJ, everyone, can you imagine Mike Holmgren or who was it? Mike McCarthy going to Aaron Rodgers and saying, hey, Aaron, you know what we're going to do in this game? We're going to run Aaron Jones, and we're going to run him, and we're going to run him into the ground. We're going to run the ball. He'd look at you and go, no way, you're not taking the ball out of my hands, because he would take that as an insult. Hurts doesn't take that as an insult. He looks at it as complimentary football. You know that line when people say, well, this guy plays complimentary football. Hurts plays that. I started looking at the list and I started realizing, what's funny? When I look at the list, I don't think they're wrong. Here. Okay, so he has Hurts 10. He has Mayfield 9. He has Justin Herbert 2. He has Stroud 7. He has Matthew Stafford 6. He has Jaden Daniels 5. I do not believe that. I think Jaden Daniels is a sensational ball player. Okay? I think he's a great ball player. Okay? I mean, I do. But 1 year, no way. Not for me. And I'm going to give you my list. Okay? I'll tell you how I see this. Based on what we have here. Okay, now he hasn't put out his top 4 guys. So I'm going to kind of fill it in. So he's got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar. I think he's going to go Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar. That'll be his top 4. Now, here's mine. Okay? I told you guys something that I will keep to this and I will not ever deviate from it unless the player starts not playing well. Okay? If he doesn't play well, that'll dictate this coming season where I see the quarterbacks. Take a shot at tequila and line for the throat. Eduardo, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. We're going to rough it out. I don't care. Here's my list. Number 10. I got Mayfield at number 10. Just appreciate you toughing it out today. Arthur, last day of minicamp. You know what today is? This is the last dress rehearsal. I'm not missing that. This is what I do. I don't miss days, dude. Okay, I'm afforded the opportunity to talk to you guys, and I'm not missing a day for you guys. That's not happening. Okay, so Mayfield, I got at 10. I think Baker Mayfield has done a remarkable job. By the way, let me ask you something. He's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. I had a discussion in Tampa about this today. You saw right now what Trevor Lawrence just got, and you just saw what Jared Goff got. How much are you paying Baker Mayfield? Last year, he threw for 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, like 13 picks, 71 quarterback percentage, and he's won games the last 2 years. Baker Mayfield has absolutely resurrected his career. If you were a football team and he gets out in the open market, what would you pay him? 55? Would you pay him more than Brock Purdy? He makes 30 right now. He signed a 3-year, $100 million deal. How much would you pay Baker Mayfield? Unless the Bucs come with him to a contract that's going to pay him north of 50 some odd million, I'm testing free agency. Now, this right here, that could very well be. Because what are you going to do with Dak? I mean, if Dak doesn't do shit this year, you're paying that guy 60? I mean, Baker Mayfield's a better quarter. Do we think Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott? I do. How much are you going to pay him? How much would you pay Baker Mayfield? 54 million? I mean, dude, he's played great, and especially against the Eagles. He's 2-1 over the last 3 games against Philly. How are you not going to pay him? I don't think the Bucs are going to pay that much. You're really going to come to the table with a 3-year, $55 million annual deal, and you're going to pay him north of $190 million? No way. No way. Gabe, thank you, man. We're all good, brother. All good. Gary Cobb will join us at 4:30. Xander will join us at 3:30. Yeah, I just can't scream today. That's all. Maybe that's a good thing. I got Justin Herbert 9. I'm going off Chris Simpson's list of his top 10. I would put Herbert at 9. Herbert's a great talent. Again, He's got to do more with less. And so far, he can't. That's the one thing that exposes some of these quarterbacks. Okay? That's the one thing that exposes them, right? Jalen Hurts is given all that talent. Well, he's not wasting it. I sound like I am on the Pied Piper of Hurts today. But I think you got to look at him differently than the rest of these guys. He's nowhere near the talent of these players, but he's smarter than them all. And that's what wins Super Bowls. Can you imagine that? You know, that's why, once again, it's so difficult. And I'm not saying he's a stiff. I'm not saying that. I got I got CJ, Stroud here at number 8. I like the player a lot. I think he's absolutely resurrected that football team. And make no mistake about it, Houston is going to go far with this kid. Does that guy look like a Super Bowl quarterback? He does to me. I got Stafford at number 7. I think Matthew Stafford can play. I think he's a great football player. Make no mistake about it, Stafford still could carry that Rams team. He's a good football player. Number 6, I got Lamar Jackson. I cannot rank Lamar Jackson ahead of Jalen Hurts. And I think he's a more gifted athlete with more skill than Jalen. But skill, athleticism versus a guy who plays the game better. I can't do that. I got Hurts 5th. I will never not have him in my top 5. I told you that. Now, unless he doesn't play well this year, that will wobble. But right now, coming off of the Super Bowl, you can't do that. Sills Cleveland been looking for a quarterback for 30 years, and they had only – hey, here's the one thing too, Kyle. If you had to do that all over again, how do you not look at it this way? Don't you think Cleveland regrets letting his ass go? How do you not regret that? I mean, they gave up too soon, right? I got Daniels 4th, probably too high. I probably should switch Stafford and Daniels. I thought about it before we went on here that I probably should switch both of them. Daniels cannot have, if Daniels plays 75% of what he did last year, he'll still be considered one of the top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL. That was as good of a rookie year I've ever seen at the position. Okay? The top 3 guys, I don't think you could really dislodge them in any way. It's Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow. Those are the 3 best quarterbacks in football. Okay? Organizationally now, again, Mahomes, Kansas City's in a great organization. Allen is in a fair organization, Buffalo. And Burrow's in the shittiest organization next to the Jets and the Browns. Burrow being where he is, that high, and being in Cincinnati is a travesty. If Joe Burrow was in Los Angeles with Sean McVay, they'd never lose. I mean, Zach Taylor, who's that? Honestly, the coach, I have no idea I don't even know where Zach Taylor came from. And prior to Burrow showing up, I have no idea where he ended up cutting his teeth as an assistant. I mean, I have no idea where he is. So Joe Burrow, Cincinnati, he's in like the 3rd worst organization in all of football. It's ridiculous. So my list is different. I got Jalen 5th, and Chris Sims has him 10th. I mean, I'm not dropping a Super Bowl MVP and how I see the guy going into this year. That's not what I'm doing. I think Jalen Hurts, especially in the NFC title game. Dude, how much does the NFC title game and the Super Bowl matter to me? How many games is that worth to me, compared to what he did in the regular season? 10. Super Bowl and NFC title game, he was great in. Well, that means a lot to me. Okay. Now, once again, is he more talented than Herbert? No. Is he more talented than Stroud? No. Is he more talented than Stafford? No. Is he more talented than Lamar? No. Is he more talented than Daniels? No. Is he more talented than Burrow? No. Is he more talented than Allen? No. Is he more talented than Mahomes? No. Is he more talented than McNabb? No. Is he smarter than those guys? Yes. Yes. Smarts win Super Bowls. Smarts wins championships. Smarts wins games. Again, these lists are about individual talents, not about how they fit into a team, not how they win in the playoffs or the regular season. PFF. How could PFF, when they come out each week, excuse me, when they come out each week and they're grading, let's say, a game, how do you know what the coordinators are asking those respected players to do? How do you know? How really do you know? You don't. You don't know what the game plan is. So when they make player grades after games, I don't really look at that. Okay, like who had the best blocking, who did this, who did that. Okay, I take that into account a little bit, but also put the film on. Watch the game film. What guy had a tougher competition against tougher competition? Like you're taking on a guy like Trey Hendrickson and you're stuffing him. That's a great grade for me because it's great competition you're playing against if you're playing against an Aaron Donald or you're playing against a Jalen Carter. Okay? So, again, nobody in their right mind would say Jalen Hurts is the best talented player at the position of quarterback. Nobody. He's your favorite. I get that. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. You're talking your fucking hieroglyphics and all your stupid bullshit. I have no idea what that means. English, dickhead. Sills always says you need more than 1 year to judge a player. Sills contradicting his own principles. No, I think Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, because he had made – I just said that. I think Daniels is probably too high on my list. That I should probably switch out him and Stafford. Thanks, senor, but you don't fucking listen. Okay? As usual. You got fucking burritos in your ears. So I should probably put him at 7. Okay, but again, Daniels, in my opinion, even if he takes a step back, that's the best looking talented quarterback I've seen in a long time. Okay, just a great one. Here's Bob Brown. By the way, please hit the like button. You guys are great. I appreciate it. Sills, quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Lamar seem to try to blend the game to their skill. Hurts is learning, like Brady, to take what's in front of him. Hurts and Brady ball, small ball, absolutely. The only problem that I have with that take is that they don't have a screen or check down game. I'd like to see, them implement that some more. Here we go again. See this guy off the reservation? Way to stay in tune. This is the guy in a what do you call it? This is a guy in a preschool where the teacher goes, "Hey, senor, you're in a fucking timeout. Go sit in the corner in the sandbox over there and go play with your fucking straws." Because everybody else on the big table is talking topics. This guy, go sit in the sandbox, kid. What'd you think? Because the throat was down, we weren't going to be that guy? Senor's the dude over here that, again, Over here. We're fucking having like an intelligent conversation, this douchebag. You're over here talking about off the reservation, as always. Hit the like button. I had so many people this morning. Okay? I had so many people this morning go like this. You see Chris Simpson's ranking. Look at this. Yes. What? Wait a minute. Would you think I was going to take a lighter? Because the throat's down? No, there's just going to be more clarity. How you doing? Sills, you okay? You sound like you're at a Diddy party. No, I sound like I was at your mom's house the other night having a party. Okay, Jeff? That's what I sound like. All right. So, again, Chris Sims, he'll stir it up. But do you guys agree with me? Okay? Jalen Hurts is easily one of the smartest quarterbacks, if not the smartest quarterback in football. He is. Chris Sims dropped him from 9 to 10 and put Mayfield ahead of him. Is Baker Mayfield a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts? Did I write that down? Is he better? Let's take a look at it. As a skill, is he better? Okay, let's see here. Baker Mayfield. Let's go to last 2 years here. Let's take a look at Baker, where he is. That's a great take. I see somebody in here saying Baker's underrated. So let's take a look at Baker Mayfield last 2 years. Since he's been with the Bucs. Let's see. 4,044. 4,500. 445. 8,500 yards. 85-44 in Tampa. He's thrown 69 TDs. And 26 picks. 67.9 QB rating. And what's his quarterback rating? Let's see, 100. Is that right? 100. So let's take a look at Hurts. All right, yeah, that's right. Let's take a look at Jalen. Jalen Hurts. Let's take a look at this. All right. Here's Jalen the last 2 years. Individual playing. 38, 58, 2,900 yards. 8, 5, 14, 6,400 to 8,500. How many TDs in the last two? 1141 to 69. How many turnovers? 20. It's not close. Okay? How do you differentiate that? How do you differentiate? Nope. And hey, for the record, nobody's saying that Jalen Hurts is not part of a prolific running game. I'm talking about playing the quarterback position. Okay? How do you differentiate that? How do you look at that and go, I mean, Mayfield the last 2 years has outplayed him. But, again, what is his record in the last 2 years in the playoffs? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 1. His last in the playoffs the last 2 years, 4 and 1. Which is great, but that's a team award. People got paid on stats. Yeah. That's why Mayfield will make more this coming off season than Jalen will. Remember, here once again, here's Senor with an absolutely bonehead take. A guy who was on 4 teams. he thought you were going to make a guy pay a dude $55 million. When Mayfield had that 1 year, they gave him a contract that paid him $30 million, a 2-year deal. Now he's got a deal coming up, and they're projecting that he's going to make between $50 and $55 million. He's not paid on wins. He'll be paid on how people look at him now in the league. People are paid on stats, dude. Actually, they're paid on what you look. Idiotic fans call them stats. They're called achievements. Whatever you're doing with your career, those are career numbers that you have. They're not stats. They're stats of some guy at the end of the bar like Senor, sitting around with his buddy Cliff. And those guys are sitting there eating peanuts and popcorn. Hey, Bob, what do you think? Who should I take for my fantasy team? What do you think? Hey, Sammy and Cliff sitting around at the end of the bar when there's 17 chicks in the building and Senor's at the end of the bar going, no, I'm knee deep into my fantasy draft. Hey, Cliff, what do you think? Well, I don't know. I was talking to my buddy, Smitty, and my buddy Smitty. I was over his house last night, watching the Bravo channel, sitting around, we were watching, and then Oprah came on. Those are guys that sit around watching Oprah. Senor's a guy that watches Oprah Winfrey on the O channel. Hey, I missed that super chat. Way to go, Senor. He sits around watching Oprah. What do you think? I don't know. Is that Meghan Markle? Sills, we all know M. Reyes is the king of L's on JAKIB Sports. King of L's? Holy cow. This guy's a champion. He's the Jalen Hurts of L's. The only thing is Jalen Hurts is the champ of W's. That guy's the champ of, right? Sills is my Oprah Winfrey. Oh, man. Hey, Senor, kudos to you, dude. That's a good one. All right. I'll give you that one. That's a W. See, listen here, man. You fight back. At least show me some gonads, unlike ass kisser Nick Serriani today. Hey, I can't. Yeah, I'm going to put it out there. You ready? Hey, I'm in a frosty mood, aren't I? Maybe I should be sick more. Here's Nick Serriani at the podium today. This is what he's going to give all you Jalenites and all you Eagle guys. He's going to, here's Ass Kisser Nick. That's his new name. Ass Kisser Nick. Yeah, I got to thank my guy, Howie Roseman, and I got to thank my guy, Jeffrey Lurie. By the way, I thought it was really cool. I heard Xander call it CHOP, the Children's Hospital in Philly, $50 million. That is totally awesome. For autism, that is so great. Kudos to you, Jeffrey. That's great stuff. I have to totally give it to him. Hit the like button, guys. Supers go to the top. But here's Ass Kisser Serriani today. Yeah, I just really got to thank Howie for building the team and giving me the coaches that I'm going to need to go forward here and gravy train my entire way, maybe to the Hall of Fame, because I could just sit here and not do anything. And you know what? We have a lot of guys out here because of Howie Roseman. I want to thank Howie, him and his guys. They do a great job. And Mr. Lurie, of course. I mean, holy cow. The art of ass kissing. The art of a deal that Trump had, that book. Serriani should write a book, The Art of Ass Kissing. I thought I was going to be in a bad mood today. I'm actually liking today. The Art of Ass Kissing. Shit, he's got that down, man. What do I do? Hey, you know what Nick Sirianni's book should be titled? I had a great conversation with Angelo last night. Me and him came up with the new book. You ready? The Art of What My Gig Is. What's my job? Oh, man. Hey, you can't be great without greatness of others, Sills. Oh, hey, that is really on display in Philly. There is no doubt about it. I mean, absolutely. You're only as great as the ones around you. Like if you put shitty coordinators around him, he'll fail. And if you put great coordinators around him, he's going to succeed. The difference is that great coaches pick those dudes to be around you. They have a say in it. He has no say. Yeah, that press conference today will be great. I want to thank my owner. I want to thank my GM. I want to thank everybody that we have. Oy. Holy cow. The art of ass kissing. Nicky knee pads. I don't know. Hey, I can't wait to see that presser. Dear God, Chris Sims, Nick Serriani. I don't know if Howie will speak. The players will speak. But yeah. Oh, I can't get enough of Nick. Dude, please do me a favor. Never fire him. What would I do? You know, somebody goes like this to me the other day. Sills, you want Serriani fired? No. Are you crazy? I live for him. I'm like the Joker. When the Joker's in that scene in the hospital, because you want to kill me. I'll kill you. You fulfill me. Are you crazy? Why would I want Nick gone? Nick is a content machine, a la machine. Are you crazy? I would never want Nick gone. Oh, that presser today. Oh, yeah, that thing's going to be. Oh, by the way, because today is last day of mandatory minicamp. I call this the last dress rehearsal before you got it really going on. And you have training camp probably July 21st. Okay? Let's see here. Some weirdo named Sills keeps texting me. I don't know how he got my number, but can someone relay the message to him? I don't want to come on your show. Crowley. What? I mean, is that an attempt to be funny? Because as usual, you're not. I mean, what is that? By the way, I have Serriani's number. How did I get it? His best friend gave it to me. That's how I got it. Frank Wright gave it to me. How I got it? I got it. And then, of course, the police officers and the PR rep for the Eagles called me and said, because you talked poorly about my GM, Sills, you can't come. We're not going to put the coach on because you talk. I go, I don't give a shit about your GM. I got the number from Frank. And Bob Wang was really upset with me because I said Howie was some negative words about Howie. And the PR guy got a little upset with Wills. I was like, wow. Well, we can't have you on. Now, guess what? That guy's infected even people I work with. Come on my show. That's what the power of the Eagles are. Even people I work with. I can't go on there, well, because then I'll give my big away. Like a binky. That's the power of our show. How you doing? We say so much shit here on this program. That guy gets upset with us. No, excuse me. All right? That's the problem we have here. And that's what we are. How you doing? Okay? You know one thing I got to give Merrill Reese and Gary Cobb? Those guys are dope. I can always count on those guys. So far, for whatever reason, so far, you know, I can always count on those guys coming on the program here. Hey, Xander, will you do me a favor? Will you please send a link? Hold on for a second here. I got to do something here with John Morgan. Let's see here. What time is great? Great. Let's see here. 5 p.m. Or do you want to do Wednesday? Hang on here, guys. I apologize. or Wednesday. Or 5:30. Excuse me. Hold on here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hold on here. Can't let this go by. About 5:30 today. Hold on. Hold 5:30 p.m. I was waiting for this yesterday. Today or Wednesday. What's best? Hold on. What's best? Let's see here. Hopefully we can do this. Let's see what happens. Get Serriani on the show. No, he can't because of because Bob Lang won't let him. So, yeah. Let's see here. Best quote. I've been at the top and been at the bottom. I will be both places again. Absolutely true. All right. So let's go here. Let's go with today is obviously mandatory minicamp. Okay. What is the biggest weakness on offense going into? And what's the biggest weakness going into the training camp in July, as you could see it right now? What's the biggest weakness? That's not the biggest weakness, man. How can, get this, Xander said that yesterday. So the biggest weakness, they've had 3 guards in the last 3 years. Has it been a weakness? Has right guard been a weakness the last 3 years? No, it has not. There's been 3 different players. Isaac Seumalo, Cam Jurgens, and Mekhi Becton on offense. What's the biggest weakness? On offense, what's the biggest weakness? Wide receiver 4. Great. Say it. What's the biggest weakness on offense? What is it? You can phrase it any way you want. Look at everyone. Pass. He's the only one that says it and wants to say it. So you don't believe you have a weakness on offense. How many people believe that? You don't have a weakness on offense. That you don't have one. Jalen is not a weakness. Okay? Jalen is not a weakness. That is not true. That is not true. Okay? Let's see here. No holes offense. Okay. That is, you really think the second running back is a weakness? Jalen Hurts is the second running back. Holy cow. You guys can't even say it. It's the passing game. Again, the passing game as a weakness doesn't have to be the guy throw for 5,000 yards. Patullo's not a weakness. Maybe. I don't know yet. Listen, like I said, when you have a guy like Saquon Barkley, and by the way, Sig, offense, we're going to go defense next. What is the number one weakness on your offense right now? How about this one, since you don't want to say it? What's the number one weakness you think the coaching staff thinks? Okay. What is it? Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see here. Hold on for a second, guys. I appreciate you guys' patience. I'm sorry this is happening right now. I gotta talk to John. All right. All right. Hey, say it. What's the number one weakness on offense? Why will you not say it's not right guard? Do you really think the running game's going to suffer? No, it hasn't. The quarterback is not. That's not where I'm going. That's not where I'm going. I'm not saying Hurts is the weakness. Offensive coordinator. All right, let's write that down. OC. OC. I'll put that there. More balance in the passing game. That's where we're going. More balance. Passing game. What does that look like? Taking sacks. Hey, by the way, Abe, do you think if Jalen Hurts took less sacks, passing game would be better? Do you? Depth. I like that one. Again, today's the last dress rehearsal. I like that one. Depth. Tight end depth. That's not bad either. Okay? Be more consistent in the passing game and not getting away with it. How about this? Do you think if Jalen didn't take 45 sacks, that the passing game would be better? Yes or no? Passing game overall. Now, here's my opinion. You're right, guys. The passing game is a problem, but the passing game can help the run game. Do you know what I would do if I was Kevin Patullo? More check down passes. Play Mahomes and Brady football. Get the ball in the hands of AJ more. Get the ball in the hands of Devontae and Barkley more. Try to somehow create passing games that you can have Goddard more involved with. I'm not talking about deep passes. Get this. When you guys say the stupidest thing on the planet, Jalen throws one of the greatest deep passes. So what? All the great quarterbacks that win Super Bowls, none of those guys you ever hear, well, they throw a great deep ball. Never heard that about Manning. I never heard that about Montana. I never heard that about Brady. That's a stupid comment. He throws a great deep pass. You don't have a passing game. Create one. How many times did Tom Brady create a run game with short intermediate passing? Okay? How many people saw him when the run game wasn't going? Brady threw the intermediate passes, the short pass. It's how many times you hear Brady talking on a telecast? Short passing game creates the running game and helps the running game and opens up the running game more. Let me tell you this. If you created more screen, let's ask this. Since Jalen Hurts has been the starting quarterback in Philly, do they have a passing game that has a screen paint game in it? Do they have a screen game? You see this here? Favre and Rodgers, great deep passes. How many Super Bowls they have combined between them? 2 in 30 years. You think they over underachieved with the talent with those two men in Green Bay? What do you think, guys? Great deep passers have 2 Super Bowls in 30 years. 15 with Favre and 14 with Rodgers. You think 2 Super Bowls between those guys? You think that's good? Or do you think they underachieved? I'd like to see more of those RPOs. I would. Sills, it's a problem when you're taking on sacks, when you have the best O-line in the league. Jalen's issue is committing to the pass and it's due to turnovers in the past. And it is. Again, because he's a one-read guy. Now, I do believe he's getting better. I'll say this again. I think Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl and most notably in the NFC title game. I think Jalen Hurts was prepared better than any other time I've seen him play the quarterback position. He knew his pre-snap reads. Steve Spagnuolo even said it. He knew exactly where he was going with the ball at every time. I got to tell you, I think one of the things that held him back a year ago in that passing game was the fact that, again, he's learning how to set protections. You know, Xander says this a lot. Guys, please hit the like button. Xander says this a lot. He goes, did Jason Kelce hurt him in his development as a quarterback in the NFL, Jalen Hurts? That's not Jason Kelce. That's the organization's problem. I never thought, really, quite frankly, I mean, name me a quarterback the Eagles have developed where you went, man, that guy was just McNabb. Okay. How good a job do you think they did developing Carson Wentz? That thing fell to pieces. How good do you think it is giving him 5 different coordinators since he's been a starter? You think that's helpful to his development? You know, if you really put it in perspective about Hurts, God knows how good he would be if he had one guy for the last 5 years. Hey, well, let's ask this. If Jalen Hurts had Andy Reid for 5 years starting, how many Super Bowls would he have under his hat? Jalen, if he had one guy. If he had one guy running his offense, how many Super Bowls would Hurts have? 2 minimum, right? 2 minimum. So do you think the Eagles are developing him? You think giving him 5 different coordinators, creating 4 different Jalen Hurtses is helping or hurting him? Every year he's been a starting quarterback. It's a different dude. The only thing consistent about Jalen Hurts is that Jalen Hurts has had inconsistency at the coordinator position. Here, let me show you something here. Okay? Let me show you something here. Joe Montana had one coordinator his entire career in San Francisco. Okay? One guy. Bill Walsh. Patrick Mahomes has had one guy in his ear. Okay? One guy in his ear. Let's see. Tom Brady. Pretty much Josh McDaniels, right? His entire career. Was here 15 years. I think Charlie Weiss was in there a little bit. I think O'Brien may have been involved too. But for 15 years, you had Josh McDaniels. Peyton Manning, Tom Moore. The entire time he was in Indianapolis, he had one coordinator. Don't you think it's detrimental to his development on where it's shocking that he's won as much as he has? I mean, I think Philadelphia does an absolutely shitty job preparing him and developing him with the different coordinators every year. And he wins in spite of that. Until Barkley, Philly running back weren't better than Jalen. So passing to Swift, then 2 out of 3 outcomes are bad things can happen in completion and turnover. I would say this, Matt D. I agree. Okay, and I mean, I think you're saying Barkley. I mean, look, Barkley changed the entire dynamic. Sills, how long do you think it will be till Nick takes play calling for Petulo week 6? I don't know. Okay, I think again they're not going to have a lot of patience. Let me ask you this: when does it get to a point though? When does it get to Drew Brees and Sean Payton? When does it get to a point where Jalen Hurts says enough is enough? I want one coordinator in the building. Or is this what it I mean, here, let's do this. Let's all agree. If Kevin Petula has a great year and the Eagles repeat, he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere. And that means Jalen Hurts is going to be in a position where he's going to come, okay? He's going to be in a position where, again, he's going to be looking at another coordinator. Doesn't it make more sense? Now, again, you're not going to fire Nick. But if you had a play calling head coach like a Sean McVay, okay, you had a play calling head coach. This is the fundamental flaw in the system in Philly. I don't think the Eagles want that, though. Okay? I don't. Sills, do you think Reed would have historic running game? This is a great take here. Sills, do you think Reed would have had a historic running game? No, I don't. No, I do not. Because has he ever? Well, Sills, what can the Eagles do if the league goes after Eagles coordinators? No. That's the built-in problem with developing Jalen. Dude, Jalen Hurts' problem and why he looks different every year is your coordinators. You're at the play caller's behest of what this guy's going to be. But when does that offense get to a point where Jalen does this? This is what we're doing. I'm the play caller. If it were me, I would have Jalen call his plays. Let Jalen call him from the line of scrimmage. But you see, they didn't help him in his development with setting protections. Patrick Mahomes, how many times has Patrick Mahomes said, and Andy Reid has said, Patrick Mahomes will get to the line of scrimmage and he'll change the play that was set in. He does it all the time. Matthew Stafford has that ability to change the play at the line of scrimmage. If he see, I mean, how many audibles and how many times is Jalen actually audible out of place? Maybe. It's got to get to a point. Do you not agree? I mean, it's got to get to a point where, I mean, if you're successful, or even if you're not, hey, how many people believe this? Jalen Hurts will have a new coordinator at the end of this year. Yes or no? He'll have a new coordinator in 2026. How many people believe that? That he's going to have a new coordinator? How many people believe that? I do. Why would you say that, Chris? Let's see how many he's had already. Nick, Shane, Brian, Kellen, and now Kevin. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's had 5 coordinators in 4 years of starting. Why in the world would he not? Sills, the only quarterback head coach that hated each other that I can think of was Reeves and Elway. Well, I don't personally think that Brady and Belichick got along, but you're talking about head coaching. There was a lot of respect between Brady and Belichick, though. That's a great call. RC3 probably says 10. His development as a quarterback has not been very good. Has Jalen gotten better? Jalen gets better like this much every year. That's why you see better growth from guys like CJ Stroud, guys like Jordan Love. And somebody will go, well, Jordan Love, he's inconsistent. Yeah, because you know why? He's got more responsibility in the offense than Jalen Hurts ever will. He sets protections. He audibles. That's right. Jalen doesn't have a lot of responsibilities. going and running the ball. Your guys are so right. Here, you think he grew last year as a quarterback, Jalen Hurts? This goes into Chris Sims' stuff. You guys think that Jalen grew as a quarterback? How? How? Hey, tell me how you think. I think he has, and I'll tell you where I think he grew. Where? Where do you think he grew, Abe? If you had a pin, okay, that's true. Yes. Okay. Give me a place where you thought he grew. How can you say that when he took 48 sacks? Turnovers. Not what I'm looking for. Spending a year setting protections and challenging and changing plays at the line of scrimmage. Came together in the NFC title game and Super Bowl. Okay. Yes, because he managed the game better. Jalen still passes top 10 in important statistical columns. Okay. All right. This is where I think he got better. So I hate to say it, but you think it's a good thing that Kelsey retired? Yes. Team got better. Jason Kelsey retired. The offensive line got better. Jalen Hurts got better. What do you think? How come that's so hard to say? Because of your love for Jason Kelsey? Fuck that. I don't care about Jason Kelsey's love. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I know you guys like him. I don't care. Jason Kelsey held the entire offense back. Cam Jurgens showed you when they put a younger player in, the team and the offensive line took off. Now, Barkley helped a lot. Okay? I'd say this to you. Jason Kelsey's last 2 years in the league were reputation years. He wasn't as good as you thought. They were reputation years. You know how some guys make it to the Pro Bowl because they got a great name? Are you trying to tell me a 2,000-yard rushing season? How about this? Let's do this. How many people believe the offensive line was better in 2024 than in 23? Do you agree? It looked like you guys were more physical to me at the line of scrimmage. Correct? That's easy for me to say. It's harder for you guys because you're Eagle fans to say. Okay? Here's where I think Jalen got better. He got smarter. But still, when it came to here, you think taking the ball out of a quarterback's hands is going to help in development? No. At the expense of helping develop Hurts, they went away from Hurts and they went to the run game. And yet in Baltimore, they developed under Todd Monken and continuing to develop Lamar Jackson. By the way, Lamar Jackson, he gets one Super Bowl win. He'll go down as one of the top 5 players ever to play at that position. He's going to win at least 5 MVPs. And if that guy wins one Super Bowl, he'll go down as one of the greatest players in the history of that position. Nobody puts up 800 yards rushing and 4,200 yards passing and 40 touchdowns throwing. Where have you ever seen that before? He just needs one. Again, taking the ball out of your quarterback's hands. It's why Sims dropped him in his ranking. He dropped him in his ranking because he doesn't think he's a quarterback that's going to win from the pocket. And again, I disagree with Sims on this one. I think Jalen is smarter than any guy in the league. Maybe Stafford would be smarter. Stafford's been in the league longer. And Matthew Stafford understands the position better. I still think Patrick Mahomes is learning. That's right. Hey, RC3 got some good takes today. Lamar's got to get smarter. Hurts has him beat. You know what? This is what you wouldn't do. They're not taking the ball out of the hands of. What's the comment that Joe Schoen made? Fine. Get this. Here's the difference with Philly, and here's the difference with New York. The general manager said this. Did he not? Joe Schoen said this. I'm not paying a quarterback $50 million a year to take it out of the hands of that quarterback and give it to a running back. That's why Barkley's not on the New York Giants anymore. Did he not say that? And in Philly, they went like this. Fuck that. We are. We're going to give it to Barkley. They went counter what that guy said. And the Eagles won a Super Bowl because they said, no, I am. And the quarterback in Philly went, we are. That's why you won. Because the mentality in the NFL is, I am not taking it out of my quarterback's hands. This is where Howie and the Eagles are running laps around you, because they will take the ball out of the hands of a $50 million quarterback. And the quarterback is going to be fucking good with it. And you know what else it does? Let me show you something else. This is a great conversation. Thank you, Chris Sims. Why do you think general managers don't want to take the ball out of the hands of their quarterback that they're paying $50 million? Why? Bob, if you're in here, you should get this. Why do GMs in the National Football League not want to take it out of the quarterback's hands? Why would that be? This is where you guys are running laps around people. Why? Why don't, here, I'll ask you one last time. Why don't GMs and coaches in the NFL want to take the ball out of the hands of their $50 million or $45 million quarterback they're paying? You're getting there, RC3. Okay? Here's why. You expose your coach, and you expose the roster you didn't build around the quarterback. The Eagles are comfortable with it because they're comfortable with the players that they have around them. We'll go this way. If you take they took the ball out of the hands of Daniel Jones, and the team fell apart, and they cut him. It exposes your coach. It exposes the team and how bad it is built around them. You know why you can't do that anywhere else but Philly? Because the general managers around the league are not competent in building teams. John McMullen says this all the time. Teams let down quarterbacks. There is the prime example of it. When you've got a team that plays the run well, Kansas City's tried stopping the run. The quarterback throws for a touchdown, and the quarterback throws for a Super Bowl win. There's no place in the league that dynamic works other than Philly. You are the unicorn. Park, thank you very much. You are absolutely the best at what you're doing right now. Okay? It exposes the GM. Okay, look, if you took the ball out of the hands of Josh Allen in Buffalo and you gave it to Bush, you're fucking going nowhere. The Dolphins are going to win the AFC East. If you did that in Cincinnati, Duke Tobin would be fired and Zach Taylor would be fired. You're just not doing that. I mean, you really believe, and plus they're not going to build the team that way. Look, do you really think they're ever going to put a player like Saquon Barkley or a Derrick Henry in Cincinnati? No. They got rid of Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon was a heck of a player in Cincinnati. Then you have a defensive coordinator who's doing magical things on the other side. You know, I want to bring this up because Dave Wannstedt said this. I appreciate you guys hanging with me today. Thank you. Xander's going to join us at the bottom, and we will have Gary Cobb with us at 4:30. Guys, we're talking today about Vic Fangio. And remember when we had Dave Wannstedt on? Dave Wannstedt said this about Vic Fangio. Oh, his system's not going to let you down. The players in the system are going to let you down. Okay? I mean, they're going to let you down. And that proved out to be so true. They will have a fullback this season. I believe it. Park, I think when the owner kind of was talking about it on WIP, I think they're going to take that third wide receiver out, and I think you're going to see more fullback play. And I think that's going to help the passing game. It helped the passing game in Baltimore. I do. I think so. I think that'll help the run game and the passing game. That third wide receiver is ridiculous in Philly. It's the least productive position in all of football. The third wide receiver in Philly, I mean, that's stealing money. Fuck, go to a fullback. Let's see. Yeah, but we saw Washington, what happens when you don't control the ball. They got to improve their old line in their run game. Sills, what's your thoughts on Chubb joining the Texans? Hit or miss? Either he's going to be a grand slam sign or he's going to just be a dude stealing money. Does he have anything left in those wheels? I mean, Barkley had history of injuries in New York. 3 of the last 5 years in New York, he had knee injuries. You know, that to me, again, you know, I mean, it's always crazy to hear Eagle fans talking about guys with injuries. I mean, Saquon Barkley's got a history of injuries too. Doesn't that concern you going into this year? With over 400 carries, a guy with a history of injuries. How many people have, that's a great question. How many people, okay, how many people have concerns about a guy who has a history of injuries? That's irrelevant. He has a history of injuries. 3 of the last 5 years in New York, he had injuries. Right? And the guy had over 400 carries. No. What can you do? I'm going to run him more. I'm not pulling back because you never know when the last time that guy's going to carry the ball. Absolutely, I'm going to run him. But you better be prepared if something goes sideways on that. Health is such a major part. That guy can't miss time. Of all the players on your team, that guy can't miss time. That is going to be, between Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, those two players, Saquon Barkley cannot be lost for a significant period of time. I think you can get away with Hurts being injured for 3 or 4 games. Not the whole season. Not the whole season. I do not believe that. But I do think you could get away with it and still win the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not talking about the kid banged up going into the playoffs. I'm talking about something like a long stretch where Barkley's out. No way. Like, get this. If Jalen missed 5 games, I still think you could win the NFC. Remember what you did last year. You didn't win home field. Detroit laid an egg against Washington in Detroit. I mean, everyone's like, well, you know, the Eagles, they ended up hosting the NFC title game. Well, you didn't win it. You didn't win home field advantage. Detroit won it. Detroit stubbed their toe in the playoffs. I think you get away with it. Again, another guy with injury history. A.J. Dillon is a great football player. A.J. Dillon, the reason he's not in Green Bay is not because that dude stinks. He was a great football player in Green Bay. His problems, in my opinion, were health. That pinched nerve. I mean, okay, Shipley's not going to carry you to a Super Bowl. And he's not going to hold the mail down. I mean, really? You're overplaying a guy. Oh, and I will throw this out. Let me ask you a question here this year. I wrote this down here about Howie Roseman's drafts. If Steen, Dean, and Sidney Brown, how many of those players will be on the 2026 Eagles, you think? Between Tyler Steen, Nakobe Dean, and Sidney Brown, how many guys will be on the team in 2026? What is the significance of those 3 players? Those 3 players are third-round draft choices, are they not? Steen, Dean, and Sidney Brown are third-round draft choices. If those guys don't win jobs, and Dean will, but Dean's not starting the season. If Steen doesn't win the right guard spot, if the Kobe's not healthy, what if this kid Makuba beats him out? And and they play Cooper at safety. Sidney Brown will be a bust. Why do you think they drafted Makuba? You know, why do you think why do you think they drafted Makuba? Because they don't believe Sidney Brown's the guy. Am I right? And they wanted to replace CJ. Well, shit, where's Sidney Brown fit in this? Those are third-round draft choices. Those aren't just 5th and 6th and 7th round picks. What a huge year for these 3 guys. I think there's a chance right now, sitting here on June 10th, not one of those 3 guys will be on the football team next year. I mean, if Tyler Steen gets beat out again by Kenyon Green or the kid Pryor beats him out, I mean, what are we doing here with him? I mean, he's Andre Dillard. Thank God you didn't draft him in the first round. if Nakobe, he doesn't start the season, and all of a sudden he doesn't come back from his injuries healthy? What are we talking about here? I'm not extending that kid. And then you got Sidney. Sidney's got the most to lose right now. You drafted Makuba. You're talking of moving Sidney over to, or Cooper over to safety. What does that leave him? The slot? He can't play the slot. He over pursues. Dude, those three guys, in my opinion, why would you have them come back in 26 if they don't make a statement this year? Third-round picks would be failures. If Tyler doesn't win that job, that's an F, right? If the Kobe doesn't come back and stay healthy, that's an F. Sills, is he good? Yeah. I just saw what you did with Dallas Goedert. You made him take a pay cut because the kid's often injured. You're getting rid of Goddard because of injury issues, not because he stinks. You know why you brought him back? Because he's good. That's the only reason you brought him back. You like him, and he's good. And if Sidney Brown, I don't know where he fits in. Where does he fit? I mean, where does Sidney Brown fit? All right. I usually like to give this guy a big-time intro here. Those guys are killing it. John McMullen's out there. Oh, and by the way, God, thank you so much. Nick Sirianni's going to be speaking today. Thank you. Angelo, thank you. Yes, I can't wait for the presser. Holy cow. I want to thank this guy. I want to love this guy. I love it. Without further ado, the co-host of Birds 365, which I watch all the time. And I do, as I prep after my Tampa show, I watch it. My friend, Big Z, Xander Krause. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother? You getting
hanging in there, my friend?
Yeah, man. Hopefully this doesn't sound rude, but there's something poetic about like listening to you still shit talk us like in like this monotone voice that I've never heard in 5 years of having you on JAKIB. I don't know. There's something therapeutic about it. Am I wrong for that? I don't know. I'm just listening to you and I'm like, he's calm, he's subtle. I can't hear him in the other room, but he's still shit talking us.
Hey, that's never going to change. The bombastic Sills has been injured, but you know what we do here? Unlike other people, we take no days off, man. We power through shit, and this is where we are right now. Well, let me start it out with you with this. Where does Sidney Brown fit in this team? If this guy doesn't have a big year, where does he fit?
So he was starting today first, that safety, next to Reed. The other thing that was Baum was on the sideline today. You had Munden and Trotter out there. And then at corner, I do think Keely Ringo. I'd have to double check. I was looking at the updates right before I came on here from practice from the reporter. So I can give you guys the updates as they come in. But yeah, so Jalen was working. He looked good out there. Sidney Brown, though, I don't know, Sills. I think you're right. If he doesn't win the job this year, he's probably done in Philly. How many years are you going to go by losing the job and they continue to keep you in? So Devontae was at practice. They had a perfect attendance, by the way, today. So all 90 guys that were supposed to be there were there today, which is pretty good. I mean, I think it's pretty good that you get everybody there, obviously. I mean, not most teams probably do have most, but it is good, I would say, that everybody's there. Sidney did get the start. So, hey, maybe he's got a chance, Sills. Maybe he's got a chance to win the job. But if he doesn't win it this year, I think he's donezo.
How about this? Maybe what they're telling him is this. Hey, man, it's your job to lose. If you lose this job, okay, it's going to be on you. I wonder if Tyler Steen was at that right guard position. That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know if he started.
See if I can update you on that.
Because those three guys, Nakobe, obviously, I know that he's injured, so there's going to be probably Trotter in there.
But this was the first team defense 7-on-7. You had Reed and Sidney. You had Quinion left corner, Cooper DeSheen at nickel, Keely Ringo at right corner, Trotter Jr. and Smile Monday at linebacker. Zach Baum was watching from the sidelines. So that was your first 7. Let me see if I can find an update for you at right guard. But remember, they're doing probably more 7-on-7.
7-on-7 today, yes.
So you might not see much of that with that. Here's first team defense, 11-on-11. All the same as I just mentioned to you, Reed and Sidney, and then Makuba rotated in eventually. And then defensive line, it was Azeez Ojulari, Ajomo, Davis, and Hunt, because Carter was not practicing. He was there, but he wasn't practicing today. So that was your first team defense, 11-on-11. There you go.
Where was Ty was second, Ty Robinson?
He wasn't not listed where on the tweet I just read, so I will continue to keep you updated. But apparently Danny Gray looks pretty good. This wide receiver, maybe he makes it easier to trade Reed Blankenship, or not Reed. I just read Reed's name. Jahan Dotson. We'll see what happens.
What do you make of Trotter? How do you feel about Trotter going into like training camp in July? Obviously, this is the last dress rehearsal. This is the last mandatory mini camp. Then you're going to have about 6 weeks to get ready. I think they're probably going to report July 21 because they're playing that Thursday night game. In your opinion, where is Trotter? I mean, what's the Kobe cut? Is he your starter against Dallas?
I think Trotter is going to be your starter against Dallas because I don't think Nakobe's going to be ready at that point. And then Trotter, I think they feel pretty good about him. Now, we haven't seen much, obviously, from our perspective, but the one thing I do like about Trotter is that he's instinctive. So if you combine that with Vic Fangio, I do think that there's going to be a good chance, at the very least, Sills, he'll be competent. You know what I mean? Just like Oren Burks was. You know, look at what Oren Burks was with Vic Fangio versus what he was in San Francisco the year prior when he came in for the Super Bowl. So I do think Vic is going to give him the edge a little bit, and I think Trotter's good enough. So I think Trotter's going to be your week 1 starter. Where it's going to get interesting, Sills, is like, zoom ahead with me to like week 10. And you're like, Campbell's healthy again. Dean's healthy again. And let's just say Trotter has a great start. You know what they say, man. You don't pull good players off the field. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to take them off if those guys get healthy, but that's where I think it really starts to get interesting with the linebacking crew. This used to be the line. You don't lose your job to injury. That stuff's gone. Yeah, it's gone.
Because you lose your job to opportunity now.
Wally Pipp, Sills.
That's right. There's no question. If Jeremiah Trotter is playing well, I'm not yanking him for Dean. And especially with Dean's history of injury, I'm not putting that guy out there. Campbell I can bring in, and I'm going to work him in because he's a rookie and because I'm really not sure even what his position is. And I don't mind playing Campbell off ball in the second spot behind Trotter. And maybe he ends up beating him out by the end of the year. In my opinion, that scenario you laid out, if Trotter plays well, that's the end of Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think it's the end of Nakobe Dean anyway, unfortunately. He might play this year in his last year of his contract. It's a contract year for him. So I think he'll get out there this year, but I don't think he's going to be re-signed in Philly. I mean, they drafted Munden. They got Jihad Campbell. They just paid Zach Baun. You got Trotter. I mean, I just don't see it with him. And it's not I don't think it's a knock on the player. I do think his injuries are a part of it. Makes it harder to keep that type of guy around, you know, when they just don't stay on the field. And that's probably why the Eagles have gotten so many linebackers in the room. So I do think you're right on that, but I thought you were right on that maybe even before. You know, even if he wasn't injured, I don't really see him as a future player in Philly. Now, I do wonder, how do they factor in the Georgia guys? Like, do you think that they want to keep – I'm not saying that's going to get in the way entirely, but I don't know. If Dean's getting $6-7 million on the open market, maybe they pay him. Maybe, just maybe they pay him. We'll see what ends up happening with that.
All right. How confident are you that the Eagles have enough talent or depth on the defense in 2025?
I'm not very confident on the defensive ends. I mean, I do think that the starters are going to be good, but I don't really know about Uche, Ojulari, Patrick Johnson, and the rest of the bunch. Like, I do believe that Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt will significantly impress us all more than we're expecting a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to be first-team All-Pros, but I think they're going to be good players. You're going to have a good edge attack with those guys. After that, I think just based on your question you asked about depth, I don't see much depth there. if something goes wrong at corner, you don't really have much depth there. Now you have more versatile pieces there where you could move Quinn or Cooper around potentially, maybe slide somebody into the slot, get another safety in. Could Makuba play the slot, maybe something like that? So I think you have more options there. But overall in depth, I mean, certainly not as good as the depth last year. Now, some of these guys could prove to be good depth, but until they're given that out, like last year, for example, was Warren Burks good depth? We didn't really know until he played. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know he was
I
good
had no
depth.
idea.
You know what I mean? Like even when we got hurt in the playoffs, remember we were like, we might be screwed at that part of the linebacker spot. And then the guy played well. So like there might be some players that play well when given the opportunity. And I think there is a good chance of that happening, but on paper right now, not much depth.
How about this here? I mean, Chris Sims gave us great content today. And I was, but you know what I did?
List ever.
But what I did was that, well, here, it's how you look at it. When you're talking pure talent, those guys are better. But Jalen Hurts is the smartest quarterback in pro football. And I think you win Super Bowls with smarts and not talent. Now, look, obviously, I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm saying that when you give me, this guy's the most gifted player to ever play the game like Lamar, that's not enough. I think that position is more about the muscle above the shoulder pads than it is about the muscles below the shoulder pads. I think you have to be nobody would ever, Xander, go like this. Lamar Jackson and Brady. You put those two guys next to one another, you're drafting Lamar Jackson every single night. Now, once you find out how smart he is, then you're going like this. I can't do that. I got to draft Brady because Brady is just smarter. When you look at the smartest quarterbacks in the NFL today, here's my guys. Stafford 1, just because he's done it longer. Hurts 2. Maybe Golf 3. Like that, those kind of guys that win, guys that are smart, guys that utilize people around you, the most gifted guys. What Chris did that was an injustice here was that Mahomes, great talent. Allen, great talent. Burrow, great talent. Lamar, great talent. Daniels, great talent. Those 5 guys are the most gifted players in the sport. But again, I think it takes more than that. I think you have to be the smartest guy. Would we not agree? And I said this right after the Baltimore game. Jalen Hurts just saw the game better in that game.
Yeah, I agree.
He just looks smarter.
I agree. I think there's a couple other quarterbacks maybe that fall into that bucket of real. I think obviously Patrick Mahomes. I mean, just the way
Mayfield is a smart quarterback.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I think Mayfield gets the most out of who he has around him, and I think he does a really good job. I think Mayfield's a sleeper guy.
Yes.
I think Mahomes is obviously right in Hurts' category. I mean, even just look at the rosters that Mahomes has succeeded with. I think you can't do that unless you know how to play the game, play the position. And even like, I think it goes deeper than just like, I'm a smart quarterback. It's like every different play requires a different version of you. And to be able to take that and feel the nuance of it and apply the nuance of it to each individual situation is another level. And that's where you really get the football intelligence, the football IQ and stuff like that. And you're right. That's where Jalen really is really good. So no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think there's a couple others like Mahomes. I think Mayfield's a good one. I actually think Purdy's pretty good at that too. That's why he's a good QB, right?
All the years starting that he had at Iowa State.
Yeah, and like he doesn't have talent like that. Like even Jalen is way more talented than Brock Purdy. Like Jalen's a sick athlete, great runner, all those different things. So
that's right.
But I agree.
That's a great take right there. All right. The weakness, and I was talking with you yesterday about this, and I'll throw this at you. The biggest weakness on the offense is clearly the passing game. But here, this is how you can improve the passing game, Xander. Don't take as many sacks. Here's another one. Create a fucking screen game. I mean, has Jalen ever had a screen game in Philly? I don't ever remember them having
like it.
I mean, those are high percentage passes.
I know, but this is the problem. And again, I don't disagree with you, but I hate to do things because of the conventional look when it just doesn't fit. And then what I mean by that is, again, Jalen, for the deficiencies that he has that might irk some people, where, you don't dump the ball off, or you don't take the easy throws, or some, those are a product of the way that he's grown into who he is right now as a quarterback. And I don't want to take that away, because some of those attributes are also the reason that we make such great plays, that he's such a great playmaker. But, he's run around everybody, Sills. Like, he didn't, guys like Brady, guys like Burrow, guys like Baker, guys like, Aaron Rodgers, guys pocket got Jared Goff. You damn right they had good screen games, dude. Their entire life was built on, when somebody shows up, when the pass rusher gets to me, that ball has to be out of my hands. And then most times that's in less than three seconds. Jalen Hurts, every level, a pass rusher gets to him, boop, sidestep, scoot to the outside. And by the way, then picks up 10, 15 yards. He's even done that at the pro level. So, like, he's never been a check down Charlie. He's never been a screen game guy. And there's deficiencies to that, but I don't know if you could say, that's a negative attribute of his. Because
let me ask,
it's the birthing point to other great attributes that he does have.
Okay, so in your opinion, the reason there's no screen game is because he doesn't have the skill set for that. So what they do is they come and they go after more of the RPO. And that's what they run, more RPO than screens, because those are high percentage plays too. RPO.
Yeah, I think it's more, though, just because of how successful
that's okay.
he is.
That's tailoring an offense around him.
Right. That's just because of how, like for example, if I'm a basketball player and nobody can stop me when I go to the left, and I just go to the left every single time because nobody can stop me, after 20 years, you're going to be like, yeah, he doesn't really have a right. And it's like, well, I've been going to my left my whole career because nobody can stop me doing it. You know what I mean? Jalen's like, hey, nobody slowed me down in short yardage situations. I've always been able to get 10 yards. So screen game for me was pointless. I was the screen game. I was the 10-yard pickup. Anything else that came through the air was, downfield. And that's kind of, if you look, that's kind of how the Eagles offense is built right now. A lot of their throws are downfield throws. That's kind of the type of quarterback he is. So I completely see, like, why it progressed that way. And again, I don't think it's a deficiency. I think it could be viewed as a deficiency, but I don't think it's an overall negative thing. I just think it's who he is as a player.
See, I like what Brady says all the time. When you throw those screen plays and those intermediate passing games, it sets up the run game, and they're high percentage plays. It's low risk turnover. That's what the Eagles are looking at. Isn't that a way, Xander, to increase the passing game? Is to have low risk turnover plays in the passing game.
It is.
That,
it is.
To me, is a way to get it going.
Yeah, and I think he's going to have to use that more because, Jalen Hurts is 27 years old. How long does he want to be a player in the NFL? He's smart enough to know this. You're not going to be able to run around people in your 30s. You're just not, dude. Like, that's just how Father Time waits for nobody, and you're going to be playing versus 20-year-old dudes, 22-year-old dudes who run 4.4s out of college. So I do think he's going to have to take more of that, in the future, and I think he's going to have to develop that a little bit more for sure. And maybe this is a year to do that, Sills. Maybe this is a year to, now that you manage everything at the line of scrimmage, it even feels better with Kevin Patullo right now because it feels like Hurts is more comfortable. I think maybe this is a year to evolve and add some of that to the offense, and I think he'll be able to do it. Remember, Carson, you know who else sucked at this? Carson freaking Wentz, dude. Guy couldn't throw a check down. Guy couldn't throw a screen pass. You could throw 40 yards down the field. It'd be perfectly accurate, but he couldn't dump the ball up to Darren Sproles. Used to drive me crazy. So I get it, but I do think he has a chance to develop it. We'll see if he can do it.
What, for me, I'd like to see him do, I'd like to see him, again, limit the sacks. Helping him limit the sacks would help the passing game. Also, let me ask you this. The role of Barkley, how does that change? Or does it?
I don't think it changes much. I don't think I think maybe the sample size, maybe the usage rate could change a little bit more, dictated by what the teams are doing to stop him. But I don't think the way you use him changes at all. I think you're probably relying on him a lot. I don't think he's going to be a big passing game threat similar to like he wasn't last year. You're going to look for some of those home run runs from him, and I think he's going to be used the same way he was last year, which will ultimately obviously be a good thing for Philly, especially when you have that offensive line. I mean, let's be real. Teams are going to try and stop it, but you're not going to stop Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson every single time. So I think the same. Maybe the usage rate goes down 10, 15%, somewhere in there. Does that sound right? Maybe 20%?
Boy, I don't want the ball out of his hands, though. I just don't. I want him to be able to be still the force that
yeah,
he
but
is.
what's long? Remember, Sil, and I hear you. You're right, and in the now that makes sense. But like you just said about Jalen Hurts, like what's the best thing for him to, what gives the Eagles the best chance at success for the next 5 years? Right? Is it Saquon Barkley running, or is it Jalen Hurts adding to his repertoire? You know what I mean? So you don't want to take the ball out of his hands. I hear you, but at some point you got to rip that Band-Aid off a little bit and say those 20% of plays, maybe that's where Jalen gets the experience and doing some of the other things. Not that he doesn't do it, but getting more usage of it, with the screen games and stuff like that, short passage, slant routes, different things like that. So I would look for it like that. I think it's an opportunity for them, for Jalen to get better. And the more he gets better, I mean, if he adds that to his repertoire, dude, he's going to be such a versatile quarterback. He's going to be so hard to defend because he can beat you in every single way, And I think that's really the end goal there. So I wouldn't worry too much about Saquon.
Why is this such a tough putt and tough conversation for Philly fans? Jason Kelce, in my opinion, was playing on reputation the last 2 years and completely has held back Jalen Hurts' growth as a quarterback. I mean, I think he grew in this place last year. He grew as a leader. He grew as a guy who, in my opinion, understood his role of making everybody around him better, learning how to set protections, learning how to – I think the organization – do you think the organization has done a good job developing him?
I mean,
with five different coordinators.
Yeah, I think I'd have to say yes to that, but I don't know if is that organizational or is that the guy? Is that the dude? Is that the man in the arena that's working his working his ass off?
5 different voices in his ear.
But that's what I'm saying. You could say it's easy to say the organization hasn't developed him, but still, second round draft pick wasn't supposed to be a starter. He's a Super Bowl MVP. You know what I mean? Like the development is there. It's just who gets the credit for it. You could argue Hurts gets more of the credit than the organization does because 5 different coordinators, Kelce not calling the plays at the line of scrimmage, all those different things have added up to ultimately slowing him down. And it's the work that he's doing that's getting him up to speed. So, yeah, I think it's more on Hurts, but I don't think they've done a bad job. I mean, how could you say they've done a bad job when?
No, I think he's winning in spite of the landmines and the speed bumps they put in front of him. I mean, when you're changing coordinators out, good and bad. Here, how about this one? Do you not agree that Jalen Hurts, there's a great chance that he'll have a new coordinator at the beginning of the 26th season again? You got 5 now.
I think lesser. I
Why?
think lesser. Because I think
that's not their track record.
Well, because I think there's a pendulum that shifts of when you have a young quarterback that comes in, especially a player like Jalen, who's a second-round draft pick, and all the offensive success can be attributed to an offensive coordinator. And that narrative permeated, especially after Shane Steichen, who took over the play calling from Nick Seriani and took a ton of the credit. Rightfully so. I'm not denying that. I think it was his credit. But I think over time, that's plateaued a little bit as each coordinator's come. And now you're at 5. And like you just said, this offense is more Jalen Hurts than ever, which is why he seems more comfortable. And maybe that plateau happened where coordinators are getting less credit versus a first, second, third-year starter who, doesn't have a pro skill set by conventional metrics or conventional scouting thought processes. That's kind of dwindled, I think, a little bit. And now it's more Jalen Hurts' offense. So maybe the coordinator settles in a little bit and he's not as hot of a commodity. Like what's happening to Lamar Jackson's coordinator? Why doesn't he get hired every year? Their offense was unbelievable.
I get
you know what I'm saying? Like again, I'm not saying Jalen's the same player. I'm just saying, I wonder if the perspective shifts on where the success is coming from in the Eagles offense. I mean, if you're going to hire Kellen Moore and have success in year one, and then have Patullo come in and have success in year one? Is it really the coordinator, or is it the quarterback and the
No,
offense?
my point is about changing that guy. And here, you got to remember something about Kellen Moore. Kellen
Yeah,
Moore
but
was
I don't think he's
fired.
going to get hired as quick.
Kellen
That's
Moore
my
was
point.
fired twice before he got the job in Philly. Wasn't like
true.
he was rolling in on some sort of massive success. He was not. He was not coming in on a high.
Yeah, I don't say that Kevin's not going to succeed, or that it's.
Oh, I'm not saying that either.
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying
just think that it's going to be more on Jalen. I think the perception is going to be that Jalen accounts for more of the success, which will dwindle how meaningful a coordinator is.
okay, well, if they get bounced in the opening round, do you think they'll change the coordinator?
It depends what it looks like. I mean,
They did with Brian Johnson.
the one thing that's true is this organization does seem to like to find scapegoats. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be Patullo. Maybe the offense isn't the problem, and you got issues on the defensive side of the ball next year with the guys they brought in, and they're going to scapegoat somebody, because really that would be on the front office, because it's the personnel problem. Let's be real on that. So I don't know. I think Kevin Patullo is going to be here at least 2 years. I honestly think he has a chance that. I think he's going to be here.
Why wouldn't you, if you're a prospective team and you see all the coaches that they've hired out of this organization, and Kevin Patullo puts up, and the passing game, all of a sudden, Xander, the passing game is 13th and the running game is 1 or 2, and they've improved it and they're killing it. You're trying to, I would believe that Kevin Patullo would be a hot commodity when it came to being a head football coach.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen had now Shane's different because, again, Shane was there 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, because he was brought in with Nick. But Kellen did not improve the offense, and he got a job.
Yeah, so maybe he will. Maybe. Do you understand what I was saying, though, about like how the perception might change a little bit?
He's winning in spite of that, is your point. I get it. He's winning.
No, that's not my point, actually. Okay. My point is that when he's an early year player, people will look and say, look at what that coordinator did for him. Wow, that's amazing. Look at how good the Eagles were. Go get that coordinator, just like they did with Shane Steichen, right? Now that we're 5 years into it and they've had 5 different coordinators, is the pendulum shifting of the coordinator deserves the credit, or it's going to become, hey, it's like it's talked about this offseason. This is Jalen Hurts' offense. Look at how comfortable Jalen Hurts is with Kevin Patullo already. Look at, how they're talking. Now it's going to be, that's Jalen Hurts' offense.
Well, then how do you explain there's 4 different Jalen Hurts seasons? They're not one season has had any consistency.
Yeah, but they've all been the same offense. It's just been different usages.
Yeah, they've been different because the coordinators have been different.
Well, to some extent. I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know if this is a good example, but like, why didn't Bieniemy get a job when they were winning Super Bowls?
Because Bieniemy was just a clipboard holder.
Well, is that what Patullo is becoming? Is that what the offensive coordinator in Philly is becoming?
Kellen Moore, from what we were told, total autonomy in the offense, according to Kevin Patullo.
Well, yeah,
he was the number one voice.
But maybe not clipboard holder isn't what I mean. But again, are they the reason or the catalyst for success, or is the quarterback?
Again, though, do you agree? Every year he's been a starter has been a different guy.
Yeah,
they've not looked
to some extent. Yeah.
Well, you had high turnovers in 23. You had a great season in 22. This last season, you had
when you say that
was one-dimensional.
What? I love when Sills says that about 23, like Jalen threw 48 interceptions. He had like 16 picks.
No, he had 20 turnovers.
Yeah,
counting fumbles.
Picks. Yeah,
he had 20 plus turnovers. Yeah,
Dak Prescott shits 20 turnovers a year.
Okay, well, again, that's why Dak Prescott didn't win, and that's why the Eagles got blown out in the postseason.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
I mean,
I'm just speculating that
frankly,
I'm just speculating that the perception shifts a little bit off of that. The coordinators are responsible for the success of the Eagles offense.
Well, if you say that, and this is the first year, though, that this guy's learned how to set protections, how in the world is it not the coordinators that have been responsible for the offense?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It has up until this point, but does that change now with Jalen having more autonomy again now?
Okay, so you think this year, of all the years previous, he's going to have more say in that offensive approach?
Well, I think it's a natural escalation. Yeah, And
I agree.
we'll say it. I think Kevin Petula might get hired. Look, if they go and win the Super Bowl, yeah, he's probably going to get hired. I mean,
I say this: if they fail, he'll be a scapegoat.
I don't think they lose in the first round. If they lose in the first round, you're probably right. He'll probably get fired.
Wait a minute. Okay, hang on. So if they don't make the NFC title game, you think he still makes it?
If they don't lose first round, he's not going to get fired.
Don't bring him back.
How many coordinators were fired from the teams that made it to the divisional round of the playoffs last year?
I don't know, man. I saw Steve Wilkes get his ass blown out for losing a Super Bowl in the post in an overtime Super Bowl.
That's true.
I mean, look, I'm just saying that the organization has got such high expectations. And by the way, Xander, do you have more expectations going into this year than you did a year ago for the success of this team? And that team won a Super Bowl a year ago.
Well, I think you got to remember, because we came off the big collapse, so a lot of us didn't know what to expect this year. We were optimistic as fans. But I think, yeah, it could have been anything, right? I mean, you had 22 where you went to the Super Bowl, and then you had 23, this like epic collapse of epic proportions in franchise history, and you're like, what the actual hell is going on here? You know, so I don't think you knew exactly where to gauge the expectations. I mean, if you remember Big Z, I predicted 13 wins last year. I told you we'd be the no-holes defense. I thought we had a chance to go to the Super Bowl. It all came to fruition for me. I feel the same thing coming into this season, and I don't think it's all fandom driven. I think I'd be honest and say we're not a Super Bowl contender. I truly believe we're one of the 5 teams that can win, and if the stars align as they did last year, I think the Eagles have a really good chance to win. But I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to be one of the very few teams that are a Super Bowl contender. And if they seize the opportunity and seize the moment in the playoffs like they did last year, you know, I think they're going to have a great chance. By the way, it takes a team. It takes a team. So it's not just Jalen needs to step up. You're going to need a play from Carter, a play from Cooper, a play from Jalen, a play from Saquon, a play from AJ. Everybody's got to make plays. And that's how you ultimately get a team that wins.
I think it's depth. I think it's health and your young guys playing.
Depth is the biggest question.
Do I think you're one of the top 5 teams? And do I think you're the lead team right now at the poll? You are the poll sitter right now. I would say that you are the poll sitter.
I agree. We're on poll.
Again, I think you closed the gap because of all the losses, but I don't think that gap's been overcome.
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't see that yet, you know?
I agree.
I don't. Let's do the super chats, guys. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30.
All right, sounds good. Let's do this. JD3 checking in. What's up, JD3? He says, what do we do if there comes a strong win and Makuba flies off? Makuba versus Smitty will look like a Salvation Army commercial.
I'm not sure what the fuck you're talking about, douchebag. I mean, what is that? What is that? Where are we going with that? What is that?
He's talking about their light. I don't know what he means by the Salvation Army commercial.
JD3, I'm kidding you, man. It's all good. Go ahead. Thank you very much for the super chat. Go ahead, Xander.
Alfredo says, I think Saquon gets 300 touches total postseason and regular season, 20 carries a game, 15 rushing, and 5 passing. Now, they're not going to throw him 5 times a game.
No, you guys said something today. So you don't think they put him in the passing game at all?
No. Why would they?
Again, you're trying to improve the passing game.
Okay, well, you just had a quarterback that literally set an NFL record and for 2,500 yards. You're going to take that guy and then put him in a passing game?
If he has 300 touches this year.
That coach should be fired, whoever wants to do that.
If he gets 300 touches, Saquon Barkley will get 1,600 plus yards.
300 touches, I think, is a good number. That's including postseason, he's saying.
Oh, wait. No, well, that means that number will probably go down. Well, no. So that means you're probably saying 275. I think you're going to need more out of him. Well, either that or Jalen's carries go up.
Yeah, or those screens come into play, like you said.
Yeah, but again, somehow you got to take the load away from this guy. Guys, I appreciate the supers. I didn't mean to go knee deep on you there. JD3, all good, brother.
I don't even know what he was going for, JD3.
I didn't have
this guy's delusional over there with no voice. Twiz says, Sills, say I got an offer you can't refuse. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't either, man.
It's fucking
Some of
Twiz.
you guys are trying to be funny here, man. I don't know.
The guy's got a hit rate of about 22%.
I know, Twiz, man.
Twizzler. I mean, that's what you get. Here's Prince. His hit rate's about 34%. Prince says, Sills lost his voice watching late night Josh Allen wedding recaps. Sills is going through it. Why, Josh?
Prince. Josh Allen's the reigning MVP. He's the best quarterback in pro football right now.
Oh, that's funny. Were you watching highlights of Josh Allen's wedding?
No,
Sills?
I don't watch that shit, man.
I don't know.
I
Did he get married?
I don't
Did he
know.
get married at movie star that
I
was
know he had
broken
a
an
honey.
actor on screen? What did he? Oh man, hate
I
to
know
see
he
it.
had a honey.
Pour one
Okay.
out for our fallen brother. He's marrying a woman who's groping a dude on camera for the world to see. It was good.
Oof.
Good night.
Not good. Not good.
Kyle Kokorski says, who remembers Trent Green got injured to Rodney Harris in preseason? Then we got Kurt Warner.
Yeah, and nobody wanted Kurt Warner. I've talked to Dick Vermeil about that. Get this, Xander. So this guy hits his head on the wall like this. Look, he gets a touchdown, and Trent Green goes like this. Bang. And it was in a preseason game. He gets taken out. All of a sudden, Kurt Warner gets put in. Every single coach, including Mike Martz. Nobody wanted this guy. Dick Vermeil does this. I'm going with him. He goes on to win the Super Bowl and the MVP and the Super Bowl MVP in the same year. And the guy wasn't drafted, and he was stacking shelves in a grocery store 2 years earlier. I mean, that's the story of all time.
Kyle Kokorski, I think you might have gotten this one. Sills, what's your thoughts on Chubb joining the Texans?
Look, it's a grand slam move if he's healthy, or it's going to be a dud. It's either one or the other. Does he have anything left? It's probably low risk sign for Nick Caserio. So I'm good with it. I don't really care.
Do you like the Texans? John thinks they're like a legit contender.
Oh, I do too. How would you not? They got the best. They may have the best defense in football.
Yeah, they got good players.
Dude, they after that whole mess with Deshaun Watson, they have done a spectacular job. They got Mixon. They gave him a 3-year contract. I don't know what Cincinnati was thinking by getting rid of him.
Boy, if he's done a phenomenal job, what has Howie done?
Well, again, no, you got to remember, you had a football team that won 4 football games, and you got rid of Deshaun Watson. What kind of?
We had a team that won 4 football games and got rid of Carson Wentz.
Standard, that was an anomaly season, was it not? Over the last 15, 20 years.
All right, you're fair in that the Houston Texans are a much worse organization. Yes.
Okay, and owner sucks.
But I mean, the guy, how many years of first round draft picks did the Texans have?
Correct. I mean, it's like the Jags, right?
I mean the Jags come on,
every
man.
year.
I'm just saying, like Howie. This is where I do think Howie deserves a lot of credit. To go from Carson and Doug and have another successful regime so quick, it's not that easy, man. It's not that easy.
No.
I mean, you're glazing the Texans. They got what do they want?
No. I'm saying, this guy came in from New England and changed the entire culture.
Yeah, he did. He did.
DeMeco Ryans. Hey, I'm hearing 3 years, $35 million for Howie.
It's good. Sounds like it's a lot for GMs, right?
Well, he would be the highest paid, if true. He would be the highest paid general manager in all of North American sports. Okay, I mean, 10 million, 35 million over 3 years. I wonder why it's 3 years. I mean, I would have thought you would have given him a 5-year deal, but it's 3 years.
Who's more valuable to the Eagles, Howie or Nick?
Oh, by far Howie.
Who's more valuable to the Eagles, Howie or Jalen?
Howie. Who's
more valuable to the Eagles, Howie or Vic Fangio?
Howie. Howie hired them all.
Is he the most valuable person in the entire organization?
Yep. Including players. He's
more valuable than Jalen. He's more valuable.
There's not a player on your team. There's not a coach on your team. He's more valuable than Stoutland.
Yeah, well, when you say it like that, it's a shame he makes what he makes because Howie really deserves it.
I don't know why general managers don't.
It's just the nature of the business. I mean, I'm not saying, I think he's very happy with what he does and what he earns and stuff.
How about this question, Xander? Do you think he's the most valuable player, the most valuable person in the NFL?
Probably. I mean, who else would be?
Name me another decision.
I mean, who's responsible for making the Philadelphia Eagles total household name? You know what I mean?
Who's been more successful in Philly, Andy Reid or Howie?
Well, that's obvious. I mean, you got to go Howie there.
Okay.
Because
name me a guy in the NFL who's been more successful than Howie as a coach or GM.
Yeah, I wasn't really including Laurie because Lurie signs the check, so it's obvious that the team
owners
doesn't
are different.
exist
They
without
cut the
the
checks.
check signer. So, the team isn't there without Lurie. Obviously, Howie's not there without Lurie. So I think it goes without saying that Lurie is the most obviously important guy in the organization. Also because of the way he's allows the team to sign contracts. But sorry, what was your question?
Name me a guy in sports. Or how about name me a guy, we'll do it NFL first. Name me a guy in the NFL, coach, GM, that's more valuable than Howie.
You probably could have said Belichick when he was in his heyday with the Patriots, but that's obviously gone now. You could probably say Andy in Kansas City.
Okay.
Because they have 3 rings, 5 Super Bowl appearances.
He's got 2. Okay.
Yeah, it's getting well. Yeah, 3 rings, 5 appearances for Andy in the last decade. I mean, that's crazy.
Plus
so
success in Philly.
I think Andy would be up there. James Dolan,
James Dolan is a loser. That's a guy who fired Thibodeau after they went to the Eastern Conference
That was such a
Finals.
dumb move. Fuck you firing Thibodeau for. That's got one of my favorite coaches in the NBA.
I mean, I can't remember when the Knicks were relevant last. I'll tell you something that he's becoming. You could start to make the conversation right now that Howie is going to Canton.
Yeah, I think so. 2 Super Bowls now. I mean, you could probably say he's going to Canton.
Well,
wait a second. The minute they enact the dead cap rule, he's going to Canton.
Do I think he's a Canton? Do I think he's
about that? They had to change a rule in the salary cap era because Howie figured out how to build a super team within the rules, within the salary cap in the modern era, to the point where you went to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, won one, and if they win another one, man, that would be unbelievable. And then the league changes a rule to stop you from doing what you're doing, and you did it at a double the clip of the next closest team. That's Hall of Fame. We had to change a rule to stop you.
I know it's crazy. Don't you think that that's what makes Belichick the greatest coach of all time, because he won these Super Bowls in the salary cap era?
Well, I do think obviously that's very hard to do. Now, I don't know. I don't know if I'm wrong on this, but my gut tells me Brady was more responsible. And I'm not saying Bill wasn't responsible. I'm not saying Bill doesn't deserve a lot of credit, but my gut tells me if Tom's not there or they never link up, Belichick is not the type of coach that we view him as now. Now, that's coulda, shoulda, woulda, if scenarios. So he is a Hall of Famer, obviously. I mean,
well, don't you think Andy Reid's narrative has changed because he's around Mahomes?
Yeah. I mean, Andy still was decently successful pre-Mahomes.
Well, Andy's no Hall of Famer in Philly.
No, but that's because of, when Andy left, Andy was viewed as the best coach in Eagles history really up until recently.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is the narrative has changed because they've won because of Mahomes.
So that's true. You're right. I probably shouldn't use that again. I'm not using it against Belichick. I'm just asking if he's
no. Look, the quarterback is always going to get more credit than the coach because the player's on the field executing. But that's like asking this: who do you think was more important in the Jordan era, Phil Jackson or Michael?
Michael.
Okay, well, what did Michael do before Phil showed up?
Yeah, it's true.
He didn't win a title without him. I mean,
Michael played how many years in
I think 14 years in Chicago.
No. He played 15 years total.
Okay. I thought he was 14 years.
How many years was he in Chicago?
I know the first 8 he didn't win a title. I could have sworn he was now.
I thought he was 11 years in Chicago.
Now,
I know he played 14 years or 15 years, right?
He was 2 years out because of baseball, I thought, or a year and a half out.
He played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years in Chicago.
Okay, 13 years in Chicago. And he didn't win shit before Phil showed up. I mean, and everyone, and obviously when he came back, he was past his time. So, but I mean, who's more important in that dynamic, Phil Jackson or MJ?
Took him 5 years to win a title. Took every player 5 years to win a title.
Right? I mean, so coaches are funny, dude. Players get most of the credit. I'll say it. I got to tell you, I've changed my opinion on Howie. I really have. He's really done.
Well,
a
he's
great
earned. I
job.
mean, he's earned it. I mean, and I
Yeah.
think it's a right. You've rightfully changed your opinion on him. I think he's earned. I think really do Howie. I do think Howie is, he's really damn good. He's not just a product of Eagles fans saying we have the best GM. We say that because he actually is. I mean, he's the best GM in football, no doubt about it. And I think that shows you what Big Sills is. I do respect that about you. You do give people credit if they prove you wrong. You've never had an issue doing that.
No, absolutely. And I'll say this about him. I heard you bring that up with John again. I'm glad John kind of relented to you. The Jair Alexander stuff. I mean, every player he's going to look at, is he a fit for Philly? Of course he's a fit for Philly. But then, obviously, I always say this, what's the money involved in it? And he's right. And you were right this morning when you said, hey, 8-9 million, I'm in. That guy's getting 15 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
But Xander, 15 million. And if you think you're one player away and I could keep Cooper in the slot or put him at safety, and you put Alexander out there in zone,
I don't know
that.
Look, I was thinking about Alexander, and I know it's enticing. He's a really good player.
Why not do that?
This dude's played 7 games in 2 years, dude. This dude has less games started than Isaiah Rodgers, who missed an entire year for suspension.
Barkley had an injury history too.
Dude, that's a bad injury history. Barkley didn't play 7 games in 2 seasons.
No, not at all.
That's like you're not on the field that much. You're rusty. Like that's different. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of out on it.
I'm going to ask JAKIB that question.
Yeah, we'll see what JAKIB says. All right, Sills, appreciate it, bro.
Stuff. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you, brother. All right. Don't forget to catch my boy on Birds 365. Now, before I bring JAKIB in, I'm going to ask him this. I'm going to set this up. Darius Slay, and I'll say this to you. Slay was a man cover corner in Detroit. And one of the reasons that Matt Patricia, and Gary's close to that organization too, one of the things that rubbed Matt Patricia the wrong way in Detroit was he didn't really think that Slay was any good any longer at man. So what did the Eagles do? They traded for him. They dropped him in zone. Well, why not go after Jair Alexander? Put him over at the corner position and put him in zone. One thing, in my opinion, that could really lengthen his career would be playing in zone. When you're a man cover corner, I think your speed starts to waning when you're 30. Now, look, he's got an injury history. As I just said with Xander, so did Saquon Barkley. He had an injury history when he was in New York. Let's bring our friend in, Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia, and see what he's got to say. JAKIB, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you making out?
Absolutely awesome. Let me ask you about that, man. I mean, would you be a fan of them taking a look at Jair Alexander? I mean, I thought he had to go through waivers, but because of the new CBA, they don't have to do that. He's automatically a free agent. Would you take a look at that?
It's something you definitely got to think about because, you think about his upside. Of course, the downside is the injuries and everything. But when you think about him as a player, you've got to consider that, You got to call his people and say, hey, what can we do? Is there something that, what are you guys looking for? You come in here, you come into a team that, we don't need to say anything. We're playing for another Super Bowl. Is your guy interested in going to the Super Bowl? You want to start talking that way to him. But, and he when he's healthy, he would put them in where you got 2 lockdown corners. I mean, and the thing that they're in the position, see, the thing is they want Cooper DeJean on the field more.
Yeah.
See? So they got a situation which is, it's like a problem, but the kind of problem you're looking for is like, we got too many good players. Nobody says we got too many good players. So because I saw the way that they're working Cooper is that they got him working at corner, they got him working at safety. They know he's one of their best players, so they say, look, we got to find a way to get him on the field on first down. When we're not in nickel, where are we going to have him play so that he's on the field? So if you bring in Jair, Alexander, you add him, who's and the thing about Alexander is something that really CJ had.
Yeah.
Which is he's a guy that talks smack.
He's a ball hawk.
Yeah, he's ball hawk. That's right. And he talks smack. He's the kind that gets everybody else going because he's gonna come in and start talking. He's not gonna go into a game. Where a lot of guys, they're playing, but they're not getting the other team. They're not talking smack and getting after people. But that's the way he is. So he would be a spark plug. And he would fill numerous holes. So I mean, if they could find a way to work something out, he would be a guy who. How could you not add him to your? If you get the opportunity.
How about this, Gary? You tell me if this is an indictment on Sidney Brown, though. So you draft the safety in Makuba, and like you just said, they're talking about playing Cooper at safety position.
That's right.
Where does that leave Sidney Brown in this conversation here? I mean, okay, you draft the guy, you're talking about the Swiss Army knife and Cooper DeJean playing his position. Where is he in this?
Well, he's a kid with tremendous, he's got ability and everything. It's just that he wasn't as far along when it came to the whole, I think, the feeling that he's got a mental grasp of the pro game, times he's going to come up, from the safety spot, like this dude is crazy.
Oh, he's a missile.
Oh, he comes like a missile and everything. That's fine, unless, the quarterback still got the ball. You see? So, that's great and everything, kid. When the quarterback has handed that ball off, you're flying up there and everything. But I can't say that they trust him yet, see. Because, and that's something with Vic. He's one of those guys that he's kind of looking at you. Does he trust you?
See, I think he likes Tristan McCullum more than he likes Sidney Brown.
Might, because that thing with Sidney Brown is he comes up with that, like I said, with that fervor and that, with the, like,
you see the talent, right? You see the talent.
But he's got to be able, when he's playing safety for Vic, is he's not the kind of guy that's going to be cool with you. You were up there and now they got 6. He's not cool with that.
No,
like you gave him 6. Now you might not do it a lot, but a few times you gave him 6. He's not. Vic's not sleeping good with that. See, he's that kind of coach. You giving him a quick, easy one. He's not interested in that. And and I don't know why they got rid of CJ. I haven't really been able to get down to the bottom of it, but that might be part of it.
Was it attitude?
I think, but with Vic, but it had to be something with attitude. I think, because I thought he was very productive. The guy is picking off balls. He's going to come up and make some good tackles. He's a good tackler in open field and everything. Now, did he have a few plays? See, he had a few plays. It wasn't that where, hey, he's coming up. Hey, the quarterback still got the ball. So this is a gimme. So Vic is not cool with that. But
when
I don't know that he's getting rid of people for that. But if you just have a couple of them, but Vic is a demanding. Meaning like he's gonna play that too deep. Now he don't like giving up easy money. See, he doesn't like that.
No, he'd rather give up the 10-yard play than he would the 25-yard play. And too many plus 25. You and I know this. One of the goals for a defense each game is don't give up the plus 25. Hold the team under 290 yards in total offense. Yep. Keep a guy under 21 points. you know, they put those team goals per game
That's
up
right.
on what you're
That's
doing.
right. That's
And
right.
if you don't play within that parameter, they're going to get rid of you.
Hey, that's the way Vic is, you know, and Vic is a guy who, look, he's got those parameters, and, you know, you can see, like, he could be hugging you after the game. He go, but then you see, you know, don't see no grin and there's no emotion. Hey, because if you gave up a big play, man, I guess when he laid down, he going, just that big play. He can't get comfortable either side. You know what I mean? So that's the way Vic is, and you know, that's why he gets a lot of his players. He, you know, because he's not as easy to fall in love with you.
You got
if you're giving up big plays, man, he is not falling in love with you. And you know, you can see him and you go like, but that's the way he is, and you know that's why he's been good all these years.
Help me out on this. You know, Gary, everybody loves the last name, and I get it in Philly, Trotter.
Yeah.
I look at Trotter and I go, I think he's limited. I mean, it's speed. Now, look, he's been schooled well. His dad talks about the instincts he has. He's in position. You don't have to have 4.4 speed to play the position. I know the game's played in space.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think of Trotter. Do you think that he is a starter? And most likely, Gary, they have him right now number 1 on the depth chart. That means he's going to play or potentially start versus the Cowboys September 4th. You tell me what you think of Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Well, I don't think the jury's in right now on the pro level because you know what you said about his speed or lack of having that closing speed and things. You know, like he's not the athlete that Zach Bourne is. You know, but he is a lot of times he's in position the right position all the time, and a lot of times that makes up for it. But I think that again, that's a question, you know, because he hasn't played, you know, a lot. But when he's been in there, he's been able to hold his arm because a lot of times he's in the right position, he's anticipating the right thing. He's not the kind that's, you know, he's going to read things. He's not going to just come flying up there. But that jury is still out on him, you know, as to whether he's going to be, when he does get isolated one-on-one, man, is he going to be able to stay in position where he's not going to give up a big play?
Is it reps? Do you think it's just reps, or do you think it's a skill set thing? Or again, we're in a position we just don't know yet.
I think it's skill set with him because he's always in the right position, you know. But, you know, times you get, you're one-on-one with that guy, you know, it could be, you know, he's running out and up. It's just, can you stay with him long enough? You know, but now I will say this, that most of the time he's not going to be in that position very much with Vic. Vic's playing 2 over the top nearly all the time. So it's rare if you're a linebacker that you get caught out there just basically on your own. He doesn't do it a lot. So and I know Vic likes him because the kid's always in the right position.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the other things he does is kid loves football. He's over there. He's going to be, you know, doing some work after practice, you know, to be the best player he can be. He does the kid he loves football, and, you know, it's been his whole life. So, and most of the time he is always in the right position. He is a very smart football player. He knows what he's doing. And most of the time, he's not going to get in position where he's one-on-one with the guy. But there are going to be some times when Vic is going to go after it. And, you know, can he stay with the guy? You know, he doesn't have that big-time speed. You know, I don't know what he is, but you can see.
It was 4.8 coming out of college.
Yeah. See, that's where he is. Yeah. See,
and especially Gary in a game of space today, right? We're talking
that's right.
about a game that's in space today.
It's going to be tough. That'll be tough on him, and people are going to try to go after him. You know, they're going to try to go after him to get him in situations where he got to run with a guy.
Let me ask you something here about Jalen Hurts here. I mean, Chris Sims dropped him down in his top 10 rankings to 10th from 9th a year ago. And let me ask you this. If Kevin, what do you think the chances of Jalen Hurts having another coordinator next year? Now, get this, 5 coordinators in his 4 years starting to date.
Yeah.
If Kevin Patullo is struggling or he wins, I mean, what in the mind would not think that Kevin Patullo would get a coaching job somewhere in the NFL? Because I say this, look at Kellen Moore a year ago. Kellen Moore had been fired in Dallas, and he was fired in the Chargers. He wasn't coming into Philadelphia, Gary, on a high note.
Yeah.
He was coming into Philadelphia on a low note, and he got a job. And I'm still trying to figure out how he improved the Eagle offense. Where did he improve the Eagle offense? In the run game? I thought that was more Howie by adding Barkley. I mean, most of the pieces were on the table already. Where did Kellen Moore really improve the game? You know where he improved the game? They decided to go with running the football. That's not improving the offense as an overall look. So to me, I'm pretty shocked that he's where he is. I mean, you think the organization has done a great job developing him enough? And what I mean by that, all the different voices. Gary, there's been 4 different Jalen Hurtses.
Yeah, I know.
Every year.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think right now that, I think, I don't know who was it that said this, but really it's more Jalen's offense than these other guys, really. I think that, and really see the big thing with Patullo is that he's been here, see? So it's not where he's really coming in from somewhere else. I expect good things out of him because he's been here. There's no excuse. He's been here. Come on, been all these years with Jalen. He knows Jalen. He knows the offense. He should be comfortable with this. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does do well and ends up getting hired somewhere else where he's got a head coaching job or something. Because I expect good things because he and Jalen know each other very well. You know, they've been together all these years. It's not where you got a new guy coming in. Now, last year, see, with Kellen,
they hired a guy from outside.
You got a guy from outside coming in. That was, the question mark. But I think I expect good things out of them this year because they've been working together. Come on, these guys are working. It's been 4 or 5 years. I mean, Jalen's whole time in the NFL, he's, Patula's been right there. So, so I expect good things. There should be no drop off. These guys know each other. Patula knows the offense. He knows the players. There shouldn't be any drop off. I mean, these guys have been around each other all this time. And I was just with some of the guys, they were talking about how much they like Patula when he puts in something, like if he can put in a play, because he's real good in front of the guys, And I could see that even with when he was interviewed, he's more comfortable than those guys. He's comfortable talking in front of people. I think he's going to be all right. I expect them to hit the ground running because there's no reason they shouldn't. This guy's not new. He's not new. He hasn't been calling the plays. He's been putting them in because they say, hey, he gets up and he's putting in the play and putting in this play and everything. All these guys know him. He knows Jalen. They've been working together. Whole time Jalen's been in the league. There's no reason they shouldn't hit the ground running. Look at all the players. These guys are not, nobody's new. These guys are all, have been around. There is no excuse for them not to hit the ground running.
Okay, couple last ones here for you then. Okay,
yeah.
So do you expect any difference in approach? Anything different?
I expect them to let Jalen, throw the ball more, and they have let Jalen call, where a lot of times he's making the call on the play. A lot of times with the running plays, they let him call the play, because depending on which side it was to or which one of the running plays they should run. A lot of times last year, Jalen was calling the running play, So and then of course with the options that they would where he's running an option. So I expect, I think they're not going to run the ball as much. I just couldn't see them running the ball as much as they did last year, especially feeding Saquon as much, because I don't see how you could, give him the ball that much, But I think that they're still going to be run first. I think there's still going to be a run first offense, but
you think more RPOs?
Yeah, more RPOs. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would think so. And I just think they're going to throw the ball more because, because everybody's going to try to stop Saquon. I think he's going to get from the way that I think that they feel about Jalen, where they give Jalen the option. A lot of times when he comes up there, if he sees something where he's got to play there throwing the ball, go ahead and call it and take it, because they're going to be trying to stop Saquon.
Let me ask you this. How confident are you in the Eagles and the talent they have right now and the depth that they have on defense? Today, as you know, is the last dress rehearsal. Then you have camp in July. How confident with the depth and the talent that they have assembled right now heading into training camp that this will be a successful season?
When you say successful season, see, the whole thing is what you're talking about. You talking about them winning the Super Bowl. I would be very disappointed they don't win the division and they're not hosting a playoff game. I'd be very disappointed. There's no excuse for them to not win the division.
So for you, that's the floor.
At least, yeah, because they're better than, I think they're better than all the teams in the division if they play the way they're capable. Of course, they do have a tough schedule they're playing against, but I expect them to do that. But the defense, to me, is the question mark. Like, how good are they going to be? How good are all those guys going to be? And are they going to be able to get a consistent pass rush? That's, to me, is the question. How well these guys are going to play, but really, how are they able to get a consistent pass rush? Can they do that? That's what I'm interested in seeing. And, if they can do that, they're going to be very tough to deal with. But I don't know that I've seen these guys where, you're one-on-one. Can they beat that one-on-one block consistently? Or is the quarterback back there patting that ball? That's the thing that concerns me. Can they get to put pressure on the quarterback consistently? That's what we got to wait and see.
My last question for you. This is going to be kind of a hard question for you. And you tell me if I'm off base, or you tell me that what you're saying. The last year, maybe the last 2 years, Jason Kelce, how much do you think he played into the lack of Jalen Hurts' development when you got a guy setting pass protections? And last year was really the first year, and maybe that's one of the reasons we saw the numbers so low when it came to the passing game. Not a very good passing game. I think there were 3 teams that were worse in the league in the passing game. There wasn't any balance, so to speak, with when it comes. You can have a good run game, but you also want to try to create some balance to keep people honest there when you're showing up. So, in your opinion, and then you saw what Cam did. Cam gets in there. The football team improved. Guy gains 2,000 yards. They go to a Super Bowl and win it. Again, this comes back to the development of Hurts. You're telling me a quarterback in his 5th year in the NFL doesn't know how to set protections? I'm not sure I ever heard that.
Correct.
And is that an organizational thing?
Well, I think it was really from what they was telling me, it's because Jason was so good at it, that he was a veteran, and if he wasn't at the level he was, then they wouldn't have given him that responsibility. See, even though I think Jalen he could still change things if he wanted to, but for the most part, he went with what Jason thought. But you see, so last year, that's why I think, it's going to be interesting this year, in seeing how well they do, but I expect them to do well because, come on, Jalen has been there under this. He's been here all this time. They're not changing anything. He knows the system. So I think he should be ready. He should be ready to do it. He's been there with responsibility last year and everything. So he should be comfortable in this stuff now. I don't think
in your opinion, you think this year here, this is the first year maybe that this is truly Jalen Hurts' offense?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I think that he's got to be comfortable with it. He's been in it a good while. There's no reason they shouldn't hit the ground running. I mean, he knows the system. It's not that they change anything. And I think that with them putting Petula in position is like a pat on the back or whatever, because you got a guy who's already been here. You're not changing anything this year. See, if anything, I think, all the time they talked about the changing from this guy to that. There is no change this year. You got a guy who's been here in the system that they're not going to be changed. They'll be adding things, of course, plays. They do that all the time. But this system is the system he's been in the whole time he's been in the league. It's the same system. So I expect good things out of him. I'll be very disappointed if it's not, because teams now are going to go into this season. They're thinking Saquon, and he's got all these weapons. They're thinking Saquon. I expect them to carve some people up. Come on, you got experienced receivers. You got a run threat. I expect good things, man. I expect the passing game, and you got Goddard back too. All experienced players. These guys, and the thing is, you don't have to just go to one guy. You got all these guys. There's no reason they shouldn't be carving up defenses through the air.
Let me sneak this in on you. Are you concerned at all, again, that Saquon, are they putting and pushing their chips all in on one player? Because, Gary, you lose that dude. I think you could lose Jalen Hurts for 3 or 4 games. You're not going to win a Super Bowl without him. I understand that. But you could probably survive a couple games. But if you lose Barkley for 3, 4, 5, 6 games, that's going to hurt that team's chances of winning.
You know what? I hear you
concerned about the usage.
Well, of course we want him to stay healthy and everything. And
absolutely.
But I don't think they shouldn't be living off Saquon as much as they did a year ago, because teams are going to be trying to stop him. You should be able to throw the ball comfortably. Come on, you got quality receivers. You got great receivers.
Great.
You got a very good tight end. They're trying to stop the running game. You should be able to carve them up, And if they don't, I'm going to be disappointed, because, come on, they're trying to stop Saquon all offseason. You can see going like, any of the defensive coordinators, if you see them on a plane, if you see the guy sitting, waiting to go into the office, let's say talk to the head coach, the defensive coordinator should be drawing up stuff to stop Saquon Barkley. That's what they should go into the season. So if you can't throw the ball against these guys, that's going to be bad. That'll be very bad. Come on. You got outstanding receivers. You got a defense trying to stop Saquon.
Yeah.
I think they can throw. I think they'll be able to throw the ball on people. And I think Jalen is advanced enough to be able to do that. So that's what I'm thinking. If I don't get that, I'm disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
He's, it's been, workouts during the off season, but he's been looking well, but I don't go by that, out at the camp, because come on,
Hey, helmets and shorts, Gary. Hey,
helmet and shorts. So you can't take too much out of helmet and shorts, but I do expect them to throw the ball well. Come on, man. I'll be really very upset if they don't throw the ball well. Come on. How much better could he get? You got a defense trying to stop Saquon. They've been drawing up stuff all offseason. Well, like in the Super Bowl. That's what I'm talking about. in the Super Bowl, we're going to stop Barkley. Okay, you guys go ahead and stop Barkley, but we're going to throw for 300 yards.
Why can't they play like that every week like they did in the Super Bowl?
That's what I'm expecting. That's what I want to see. I think they should be able to do that. If teams want to commit that much to stopping Saquon, then go ahead. You guys stop Saquon. We're just going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then we'll get out of your way. That's what I'm expecting. If I don't see that, I'm disappointed because you can't take away Saquon and play pass. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
So we'll see if, and then Petula, he's comfortable with calling the play. He's comfortable. He knows these players. He's been here around all these players. He knows it. I think he's going to do a good job because he's comfortable. He's right at home, So I'm expecting good things. And really out there, you can see Jalen is comfortable with stuff. He seems like he's very comfortable.
How much do you think that Super Bowl plays into his comfort zone now that he knows that he stepped up in that game?
I think it definitely. I think it plays into everything. When they needed him to, and what you got went into that game. We're gonna stop Saquon at all costs. Well, go ahead and stop Saquon. We're gonna throw, like I said, we'll throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then we'll get out of you guys' way. We'll get out of town. We'll leave out of here. That's the way I want the attitude. That's the way they should be because they don't have any rookies. These are experienced players. You should know what you're supposed to be doing. You should know the adjustments. Yeah.
Hey, you think Jacoby Dean, this is his last year in Philly?
Well, if he plays well, if he plays well, because I think that he get a chance to go somewhere else and people be willing to give him some money, But I don't know that that's going to be the case. I think that, I expect a good year out of him. The whole thing is how soon is he going to be back? That's a big thing. If he's going to be back soon, I think he'll go in and he'll take over because I don't expect there to be any problem with them against the run. It's going to be that pass rush that I need to see.
Well, what's John Campbell's role then when he comes in? When he's healthy, Gary, where is he playing? What's his role?
See, that's going to depend on how healthy guys are. But I expect him to play him where he's playing inside linebacker, because of Nakobe, his health. And I expect them to be thinking about him doing playing inside linebacker. And that question I've been asking you, which is, do they have some good outside pass rushers where these guys are coming off the ball, beating the guy, getting to the quarterback?
Is that why they're putting Zach out there and testing him out there and rushing him from the outside?
I don't think Zach is going to be I think that they'll do it as a change-up sometimes, but I don't think that's something Zach is going to be. Zach's going to be inside. He's too important there, and he was too good last year for them to change him, and so I don't see that. Every now and then they'll move him outside, and he comes off the corner and everything, but that's not going to happen very much. I could see them though with the rookie, where they would have him line up outside and just be rushing the passer if the other guys aren't doing the job. But they got to do the job, and you got to be able to be getting to that quarterback consistently. Where people are worried about you, because all of them are one-on-one except Jalen Carter. They double him all the time, but the rest of the guys are one-on-one.
Yep, absolutely, so, Gary.
We'll see.
Absolutely, it should be absolutely sensational. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you doing this.
Hey, have a good one. We'll see. All right,
we will. We will see. That's my friend Gary Cobb. So I just got a text message from Chris Sims. I'm trying to get him on here. And I go, so you dropped Jalen Hurts. Okay. Yes, Xander, I think if that's cool with you, I'd like to do that. If that's all right. If that's okay. That would be cool. Oh, man. Xander's awesome. Xander's taking mercy on me. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up at the top of this hour here. Thank you, dude. Look, I wrote this down here. My strengths and weaknesses coming out of the mini camp today. Xander's getting soft. Xander's taking mercy on Big Sills. And I say this to you, and I'll put this out there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 best teams in the NFC. You tell me right now. 5 best teams in the NFC. Have you done enough? Are you confident enough in the Eagle roster that they have enough talent and depth for the 25 run? Who would I put at 5? Let me go here. 5 best teams. Put them in order. Five best teams. Put them in order. Number 5. I'm going to say the Bucs. Number 4. I'm going to say the Rams. No. I'm going to say the Commanders. Number 3. I'm going to say the Lions. Number 2. I'm going to say the Rams. And number 1, I'm going to say the Eagles. So right now, dude, thank you. Hey, Matt D, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, man, you guys have been awesome to me today. Thank you so much for tolerating my voice. I don't know what the hell happened. John and Xander are going to be recapping minicamp, so that's cool. Okay, so John's over at the NovaCare Center. That's great. All right, so those guys are going to have a recap for today's camp. Okay. Yeah. Here, let me see. Panthers will beat the Bucs. I think the Panthers have improved, dude. I think they've improved. I don't trust the Bucs. I don't know why. I just don't. Well, they beat the hell out of the Eagles every time they play them. Eagles, Rams, Commanders, Lions. Those are your final 4. I think the Eagles and Rams are going to be in the NFC title game. You got the Lions at 4. Okay. Thank you so much, Sue. Lions losing coordinators. Can't put them above Washington. I think the Lions have great. Well, you lost a coordinator. Now, you didn't lose both, but you lost a coordinator too. You know, and that hiring from within. You guys did that with Brian Johnson, didn't you? So I got Eagles, Rams, Lions. Eagles, Rams, Lions, Commanders, Bucs. Those are my top 5 teams. And after that, I'm just not sold on Green Bay. Okay. Great talent. Absolutely. Just a great talent. Lions roster is great. Yeah. Again, I do think those coordinators are going to play a factor. Bucks over the Packers. Yeah. I think the Bucks with Vita Vea and Antonio Winfield, Levante David. I think, plus you talk about the talent they've got number 2 with Tristan Wirfs, and that other offensive tackle is number 28. They got a pretty good duo there. Lions have to win. They got to win. Lions have a great roster. Yeah, well, I like Minnesota's roster too, except for the quarterback. Okay. All right, yeah. Let's see here. No, John's not coming on today. He had to reschedule. Healthy Detroit has loaded roster. They do. They're a great football team. Let's see here. Lions will be playing for revenge. I agree. Bears can be a sleeper. Again, the connection between Brian Johnson and Caleb Williams will be a factor. Look, I think Matt LaFleur's done a great job with Jordan Love. I really do. I think he's done a great job with him, but they just don't play consistent enough. Yeah, I don't see that either. I mean, Sam Darnold. I don't even see. I mean, Geno Smith in Las Vegas. I don't know that either. The Bears did a great job in their offensive line. They surely did. Look, I think the Bucks, Rams, they're going to be the sleepers on how far and who goes and plays the Philadelphia Eagles for the NFC title game, depending if Philly stays healthy. Okay, I do. This is a great take too. Ethan, I think that 49er roster, if they get Brock Purdy and they stay healthy, I think that football team could play a factor too. I do. I love Todd Bowles. I've been talking about him now for the last couple of weeks. And the more I dive into them, they got a heck of a roster. Hey, guys, thank you so much. You guys have been great. I don't know where this came from. I think because my kid, she has a new job. She's hanging around kids. I won't be shocked about the Patriots. So listen, don't forget today. Don't go anywhere. John and Xander are going to have a recap of minicamp. This is the last dress rehearsal. Then it's going to be training camp, and probably around July 21. Guys, tomorrow, 2 to 6, I promise you, we'll be good. Thank you again. Big Z, thank you. Big Joe, thank you very much. 2 to 6 tomorrow. Hit that like button, and we'll see you on the flip side.